Welcome back, welcome back, welcome back.
What's going on?
Okay, too much.
Oh man, that
The vi-
iCarly ass countdown, bro. What are you doing?
the vibes were a little bit off at the start last time. I think it was fairly obvious that most of us were just starting our day at 3 p.m. So we wanted to make a more concerted effort to have more energy at the start of this. Another exciting week of NBA basketball, electrifying, dare I say. And we have got some fun stuff going on today. We normally do our audience prompts at the end. We're going to start doing those at the beginning now. So for this week, we are doing way too early awards based on very early and fake judgment from 3 weeks of basketball. We're going to be giving our picks for MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, Rookie of the Year, Coach of the Year, and Most Improved. Leave your list in the comments and let us know what you think about ours. Are we tripping? Are we right? Are we dumb pieces of shit? And let's get right into it. I feel like MVP is super spicy right now.
You think so?
I feel like I have like at least 4 guys who I could slot in here. Some of them closer than others, but at least 4 dudes who like warrant talking about. And honestly, Jason Tatum might be in that too. It might be like 5 for me, just because the Celtics are so good and pretty great. I'm gonna do it. Give me Wardell. Give me Stephen Curry.
You think so?
For the top MVP spot. There has been one instance this year when Steph Curry has played where someone on his team has scored 20 points, and it was Dario Saric. He is
Wasn't
shooting.
That last night, actually?
No, it was a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
I think Saric has like 2 20-point games maybe.
Man. Curry didn't play last night.
Yeah, while Steph was playing, there's been 1 game so far. I mean, 35 years old, 31 points per game. He was like 6th in the league in true shooting at one point. 44.6% from 3. He was shooting like almost 50% on jumpers. I'm not sure if that's still accurate, but like the efficiency, the just willing them to win that he's had. They're on a little bit of a skid now, but initially they started like 6-2. He's been phenomenal. I want to give honorable mentions to Nikola Jokic, honorable mention to Luka Doncic. It feels like every year before the season starts, everyone says this is the Luka MVP year, and this is the first year I feel like that's pretty feasible. I don't think he's going to shoot this efficiently from 3 the whole year, but he's been fucking amazing. And you know, I feel like I owe the Sixers an apology to a certain degree. I've been hating pretty hard since the offseason, the start of the year. I said they were fake and they were going to fall off, and they're 8-1 and leading the conference. Joel has been excellent. So my pick is Curry, but I just want to make sure that I gave props where they were due to everyone else in the running. I don't know. We didn't really discuss this one much. I'm interested to see where people fall on this. I have a feeling I know at least one person's answer, but I'll let you guys run away with that.
All right. Well,
I feel like you can look at me and know who I am and know who I'm gonna pick, so you can be the interesting one.
He was the
unfortunately
Dick Ryder. I mentioned.
Unfortunately, I don't think what I'm gonna say is gonna be very interesting. I've got mainly 2 MVP candidates right now, and it's the same ones that we had last year: Nikola Jokic in first for me, and Joel Embiid in second, and for pretty much all the same reasons that they win MVP before. Their teams are really, really fucking good. They're both individually playing fantastic right now. Embiid's offense has been really, really great to start the year. His defense has been outstanding. He's just Joel Embiid. Same with Jokic. The Nuggets are cruising right now, top of the conference. And yeah, I mean, they've carried all this momentum into the next season, and their teams are showing well for it. So
I'm sorry, I don't have anything interesting at all. Like, listen, man, you can look at me. I have a stats degree. I'm wearing glasses. Who do you think I think is the MVP? Like, realistically, for the I guess if this was my way, this would be the 4th consecutive year. I would have to go with the large one in Denver. Nikola Jokic once again has the Nuggets looking like the best team in the NBA, besides maybe the Celtics. And I think, with all due respect to Jason Tatum, we know he is not the primary driver of them being like he is their best player, but I think there's a lot more to the Celtics being that good than just him compared to Jokic and the Nuggets. Jokic continues to be one of the most efficient scorers, playmakers like in the entire NBA. When he's on the court, they're basically unstoppable. He's like second in the NBA and on off right now among starting players, which is, I mean, that sounds cherry picked, and then you realize he was first last year. So it's like, I don't know. And I think he was first the year before as well. That's just what he does, man. That's just who he is. And Nuggets look incredible. He kind of shot terribly last night, and it didn't matter because when they're on the floor, when he's on the floor, they always have a chance to win. So
Is he even more impactful than Contavious Caldwell-Pope? I digress.
to my fantasy team, no, but to the Nuggets, yes.
Wow.
I don't have Jokic. I do have KCP. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Are we gonna have to go to? Are we doing the other boring one first, where we all agree again?
What, DPOY?
Yeah.
It is kind of boring, but honestly, I feel like it's kind of been a runaway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let me pull up the stats I sent you the other day. It was like the middle of the day, and I just sent Connor like this full fucking like laundry list of things that Rudy Gobert just does.
I mean, it's
It was
not so
11 a.m.
boring.
actually. I like got out of bed and I was like, listen, Connor, you need to see what I found on Second Spectrum. As of like 5 days ago when I got these stats, they're not that different, by the way. Leads all starting bigs in on-court defensive rating. Second is like 3 entire points behind him. 100th percentile rim deterrence on cleaning the glass. When he is on the floor, opponents are shooting 45% from inside the arc versus the entire Minnesota Timberwolves team. They're the best defense in the NBA by kind of a lot right now. Opponents are shooting 47% versus him at the rim. Like, I don't really know. It's like, if you do that for a full year, it's like super open and shut. Honestly, I do want to give a special shout out to Joel Embiid, who does come up in a lot of those queries when you do look him up. But I mean, Rudy's doing the Rudy thing. He probably deserves his fourth. Maybe he already deserves four. Maybe this could have been his fifth. But yeah, he's going fucking crazy.
Yeah, I mean, there's not like it's boring, but like it's really been kind of a runaway. Like there's no one I can give honorable mentions. Like we've talked about Joel Embiid a bit. I think he certainly deserves some of that credit. They have one of the best defenses in the league right now, and he's been excellent at the rim. Anthony Davis to a certain degree. I don't think anyone's been like particularly close to where I need to say there's a second guy. It's more like it's like Rudy up here and then like whoever like all the way down here. Like he's been fantastic. I'm really happy.
Yeah. We're just very back in Utah Jazz territory right now. Like,
Yeah,
well,
except
and
now, now he leaves the court and they don't suck.
yeah.
Well, and I don't think he was as bad as people thought he was last year. I think the block numbers stunted quite a bit for whatever reason, and people just took that as like, oh, he's actually like pretty washed. You could say that he wasn't his best last year, and he was like not particularly comfortable, but I think it's pretty inarguable that he's been amazing right now, and he's to me just like running away with it right now. Like if he does anything even similar to this for the rest of the year, it's just his award to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, there were also a lot of scheme and personnel issues that the Wolves had last season that kind of maybe hindered his ability to be effective. Maybe he wasn't quite as comfortable, but I mean, he just looks like the Rudy Gobert that we've seen for almost his whole career now. And
You know what's crazy
yeah.
too about that is that for as uncomfortable as he was and for as ass as they were at times on defense, he was still number one in the entire NBA in terms of rim deterrence, which is for those of you at home is a stat measuring, you know, how often the opponent team is shooting at the rim when you're on the floor. So Rudy Gobert just being an individual who exists on the planet causes opposing teams to take almost 10% fewer shots at the most important part of the entire court, which is fucking crazy. Like that's kind of insane to think of, like 10% fewer shots.
I wonder
the
where
rim.
that ranks like historically. I mean, I know it's 10 games, but I wonder like
I
where...
mean, it's kind of hard to even contextualize it because that's data we only really have since like 2014.
Right.
He is like the number one all-time leader for that since 2014. Like before that, you kind of have to you'd have to get someone to like go on like hands and knees and track every single possession for like every rim attempt for years. But like, hey man, no one quite
One
does
day.
it like him. One day, but no one really does it like him right now. The way that he affects opponent shot quality is second to none. It's insane.
Watch the Timberwolves 7-game win streak, 8-2, second in the conference.
Dog
Watch
for
Rudy.
Celtics, big day.
Yeah, that was a really
crazy game.
really impressive win. Like I think people have kind of written them off, and honestly, maybe I should be walking back some of what I've said about the cat stuff, because I mean I still believe in everything that I said, but if they came out and they were bad, or even if they were like mid this year, I think there would have been a lot more urgency. But I mean, amongst this 7-game win streak, they have picked up some very quality wins versus very good teams.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, since we last talked about it, Cat's had like 3 or 4 really, really good games in a row. So,
he's back to being just really efficient with the ball, like shooting it, doing his little passing thing that he sometimes does. It's just nice, man.
The drives are looking a lot better. The drives are looking a lot more
absolutely.
under control. And that's going to be important for him. By
the way, this is something we mentioned before the show. Do you guys want to talk about the thing? Because the Timberwolves just played last night.
Right,
and something happened in the game. At a blazing score of 0-0 between the Minnesota Timberwolves and Golden State Warriors, Jaden McDaniels, pod favorite, and Klay Thompson, not pod favorite, got into it a little bit. Rudy Gobert, pod favorite. Maybe we just love the Timberwolves. One could say he instigated, the way I see it, and not because I like Rudy, but I think if you watch the replay, it looks like he's kind of trying to break him up, right?
Right, yeah.
And then Draymond just fucking soars in like Superman and starts choking him out. Like, oh man, that was like.
I mean, he looked like he was trying to put him to sleep there, bro. That was wild.
It might have been more than when he initially grabbed him. He like kind of jerked his elbows. Like, are you trying to kill him? Like, what the fuck?
It's crazy that in the last, like, when was their series versus the Kings? June. In the last 5 months, Draymond Green has done 2 things on national television that I think if this happened outside of an NBA game and he was being brought up on charges in front of the court, I think the prosecutor would have a very easy time convicting him for battery and assault. And he just did that shit on an NBA court. It's so, like, I don't know. I don't really want to like analyze this or like give a play-by-play about it, because like it's a fucking fight. Like,
it's just funny.
Shit happens. It's just so like.
And I mean, as of us recording this, I don't think they're not suspending him, or they haven't like.
I think they haven't given a verdict yet. I think they're going to, though. I imagine they suspend him for like 2-3 games.
I think
they play tomorrow, don't they?
Suspended.
Yeah, bro, that shit was insane. Did you guys see? By the way, I think I might have pointed this out. At the end of the clip, Steve Kerr is like running on the court, like begging him to let Rudy go. It's like, bro, what are you fucking doing? And I think I really love the Rudy response. Like, again, not here to super analyze it, but I love the response of like, yeah, I mean, my team needs me. I'm not about to do some dumb shit and retaliate. We won, so bozo.
And it's kind of funny because he's got a point. Like, Draymond does tend to, get himself missing games when Steph Curry is not playing. So
yeah,
I think it's like
there. I understand.
All right, enough about that. It just we could not talk about it.
I mean, I saw it on Twitter last night, or like I don't remember if I saw it before you sent me the link, but I just like. I was floored, first of all, and then I looked at the score, and I'm like, how did this happen? Like, a minute and a half into the game, like, what the fuck are you doing?
The first clip I saw of it did not have the scoreboard on it.
Yeah.
And so I didn't realize. And then Bashiri is, like, we're messaging back and forth about it. He says, wait, it's 0-0. No one scored yet. Bro, like the only shit that happened before that was like a Klay Thompson air ball. Like, oh my god.
Oh, maybe he was mad. Who knows?
Yeah, I love it. The NBA is really back, man. We live for stupid shit like this.
Back. Dude, and what's crazy is that there was like a big discussion on Twitter after last season. Like, was this the funniest NBA season of all time? Brother, we might
Yeah.
We might be on pace to break that already. Like,
Mm.
I don't. Oh man,
Oh man.
so much funny shit happening right now. But
What other awards do we have?
we can go to MIP now.
Oh boy. MIP, Rookie of the Year,
Coach of the year.
Coach of the year.
Coach of the
I
Year.
didn't want to do clutch
Clutch
player
player?
of the year. I feel like I'm still.
I feel like there haven't really been enough like clutch games to.
There hasn't
I
been enough clutch games. There haven't been enough coaching moments. Like I feel like Coach of the Year is just like, hey, it's Michael Malone. They're winning. Like,
Yeah.
okay.
I feel like there's some. I have people in mind for coach of the year that like like,
We can get it out of the way
um,
now. I guess I would probably pick Missoula. Just like I feel like he's done
You
a
guys are
pretty good
great.
job. I mean, just obviously the team's winning, so it's easy to give it to the guy who's winning. But I mean, I think he's done a pretty good job of integrating the new guys and kind of keeping the same flow that they had before. It seems like obviously we all knew going into this that it would be pretty seamless, more or less. But you know, there's always a chance that someone fucks up somewhere along the line, and he has not done that. So
give me Rick Carlisle, man. Give me
Why?
Rick Carlisle. Because this team was slightly above 500 last year with Hallie, and then they were fucking putrid without him. And so, obviously, Halliburton's impact on this team is pretty substantial, on the stat sheet and just like visually when you watch them. But when you talk about adaptability as a coach, or versatility, I guess, as a coach, when you look at Rick Carlisle's last few years in Dallas, playing with one of the slowest guards in the league and tailoring an offense around him and Luka Doncic, and having success with that, and then coming here to Indy and then designing and orchestrating the fastest tempo and the best offense in basketball. When you talk about that type of versatility and like changing the way that you coach around your personnel, that shit is that to me is incredibly impressive. And the way that top to bottom they have got everybody to buy into this like high tempo and like everyone's on the same page and the offense is very free flowing and fluid. I thought they were going to be a good offense before the season started. I talked a lot about how the Bruce Brown acquisition and stuff like that could help them, and like Andrew Nembhard as the backup point guard sharing like some skills as far as pushing the tempo with Tyrese. I never would have thought they would be the best offense in basketball. That to me is more impressive than anything.
You know, that was a really well thought out and intelligent answer, and I'm sorry to follow it up with some bullshit.
Mike Malone go Burr.
No, that's boring. He has the MVP. Why would I give it to him?
No,
I think the best coach or the coach of the year is going to go to the best coach in the NBA, who has been the best coach in the NBA for a while, and I think that's Eric Spoelstra. Um,
you think they're finally
just
gonna let him have it?
I think they should, bro. The Heat are the third seed. Aren't they supposed to be ass? I feel like they're supposed to be ass. I don't like them. They should
I also
be
I
ass.
feel
mean,
like they're supposed to be
personally,
asked.
personally, I think their third seed's kind of fake, but you know,
It is kind of
we can
fake,
get
but that's
into
the
that.
thing. Does it not always feel fake with an Eric Spoelstra team? Isn't that his thing?
Yeah, but
He
I mean,
finds a way, man. He's a wayfinder. He finds a way. That's what he does. No
Like,
matter
bro,
what.
that's true.
I mentioned I mentioned before we started that if the season ended today and if we were making all defensive teams on this episode, I damn near might put Haywood Highsmith on second team. And
Haywood
so
Highsmith, man.
I
He's
respect
good,
I
like-
respect your opinion. I respect what you're saying because that
And, like,
respect to
I
Haywood,
underst-
like natural talent and IQ and stuff, but
Yeah.
some of that stuff, like to that degree, that level of improvement doesn't happen without excellent
Yeah.
coaching.
it's weird,
So,
especially
that's
because
valid.
Jimmy has not been very good by his standards. Like Jimmy has had a very rough start to the season. And they just like figure it out. The thing is, I hate Coach of the Year because it feels like it goes against the things I think about. Whereas, like, diving into analytics and like things that are easily observable and measurable, coaching is really kind of difficult to get a gauge on. But all I know is that every single year, and it's not because I don't like them, although I don't like them, but it's not because I don't like them. I always look at the Heat and I'm like, they're okay. They look like they can maybe do something, and they're always like so much better than I think they are. And they always are like so good in close games, and they always outperform their net rating. And it's like, what are we fucking doing here? How is Jimmy Butler playing bad, and they're the 3 seed? And like yes, some of it is variance, but some of it is also just like, dude, this is just what Eric Spoelstra does to teams
Yeah.
every year.
I
He's
mean,
fucking
personally,
insane.
I feel like we've known, most people have known for a while now, he's the best coach in the NBA, regardless of
Yeah.
who wins the award, who goes on what type of run. It's been pretty consensus for like a couple years now that he's the best in the league.
Yeah. I
And
mean, the
so
fact that
I
two
think it's
years ago
valid.
he got that team to the 1 seed, like what?
Yeah.
1 game away from making the finals, and then he did it the next year with a worse team. Like they just always manage to do some shit over there in Miami, man. And I think that none of that happens without him.
Much love, Spo.
Yeah. Shout out to Spoelstra.
We
What we
we
got
going to
next?
MIP now.
MIP. I
We
feel like
are.
that's the most involved one. Maybe we go like Rookie of the Year as an
Sure.
appetizer. All right.
Appetizer.
Who wants to be the guy?
Give me Chet. Give me Chet Holmgren. I
Same.
I
I
feel
don't know
like
if
we're
that's
all a bunch of
controversial,
zaggers
but-
on this fun podcast because we're all going Chet. Aren't we?
well, and let me preface this by saying that Wemby has a much harder job than Chet does on the court currently.
Yeah,
Wemby
his
is
Spurs suck.
Wemby is the system. He's the best player on the team. Everything is built around him, and he's trying to have to figure out, how this team can be constructed around him and be successful. And they're not super successful right now. And Chet is playing with. I mean, where do we want to put Shea? Top 15, maybe top 10 in the
Let's
league.
say 15.
Yeah, close
Yeah,
enough.
like
Comfortably,
conservatively.
10 to
very
15.
comfortably top 15 player, maybe higher, all NBA player, just a superstar talent. And so I will concede that Chet does not have the type of responsibility that Wemby has. However, I can't just ignore. I think defensively they've been fairly similar. I don't think anyone's gonna argue super heavily about that, and I've been a big advocate about Chet Holmgren's defense on here, but like the efficiency that Chet has come in with, and just like the way that he is so seamlessly integrated into this Thunder team and become a winning player as a rookie and like be part of a winning team as a rookie, he just doesn't make a lot of mistakes. And granted, he's been around that locker room for a year and gotten a chance to like learn and grow and build chemistry and stuff with these guys, but he just doesn't do a lot of like dumb stuff that rookies do. I think they're probably I'd have to think about it more, but to me, clear cut, those are two of maybe the only guys in their whole class who came in and are just instantly positive, like above average NBA players. I think Asar Thompson actually fits into that too, but
Mhm.
I gotta give it to Chet personally.
Yeah. The thing is with Vic, it's so hard to get a read on his defense because the Spurs are still awful defensively.
Yeah.
They're so bad. And beyond that, it's like when you look at like shit like on off footprint and you try to get into more like advanced numbers, like Vic looks like he's good, but it's also like even when he's on the court, they still suck. They just suck even more when he leaves. And it's like, is a +10 on off when you're raising your team to a -8 the same as like a +8 when you're raising your team to like a good team? And I
Right.
feel like that's like a question you have to ask yourself because Chet is like his like I'm a big on off guy. If you couldn't tell, because I think that's a good way of measuring how much you're contributing above like average. There's caveats with it, of course, and like every advanced stat attempts to like stabilize it for some sort of effect, like interaction effects. But generally, good on off, good player, and Chet is good player, and it's not because of his good on off, but you see that and you're like, well, yeah, that makes sense because he's good. Um, it's the difference on offense for me as well. He's just so comfortable with the ball. Like he has really like pretty advanced moves. Honestly, dribbling, getting to his spots, pulling up, and then like the thing is, he's just a much better shooter than Vic is. He's I would say that, like he's got more like counters in
Mhm.
terms of like inside and just in general like that boy nice.
Yeah.
He's nice with
I
it,
think
man.
his touch is a lot more developed than Vic's is too at this point.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think until we can get like a totally like robust estimate of what the Victor Wembanyama defensive impact looks like on a team that's not last in the association, I have to go with Chet as well.
Well, mind you, the Thunder are the eighth rated defense right now in the league.
Yeah.
Is Chet Holmgren an all defensive player currently?
I don't think so, but like the fact that you have to ask that kind of does say a lot about him.
Right.
I agree with that. I think it's cool as fuck that he's in the conversation. Like that is very. It's nice. It makes me happy.
Yeah.
I like him a lot.
I mean, I think there's a chance that by the end of the season, they're both like all defense caliber players.
Yeah.
I don't know. The Spurs are 29th rated right now with a
Yeah,
one.
but the
mean,
thing
yeah,
is,
but-
they're like kind of okay with Vic on the floor, and then it is fucking tragic when he leaves. Like
Yeah,
it's-
like they were already the worst defense, and like they pretty much have the same team just plus him.
yeah, like here, for reference, the Spurs are like pretty average. With Victor Wembanyama off the court, their defensive rating is 126. So
You know?
that is staggering.
Yeah.
Like that is like genuinely horrific.
For
Um,
reference, the worst defensive rating in the league right now is the Hornets with 120.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and to be fair, they are still last, but their defense has actually improved since last season. So
Yeah, and especially when he's out there, like they're like kind of okay when he's out there. They're not good, but they're passable. And then when he leaves, it's like, oh my god,
Yeah, it's
anyone
a
can buy a bucket
disaster.
on these guys.
Go get him.
Oh man. All right, we said we're not doing clutch player, right? Because that's like kind of
yeah, I mean, there's been
Nothing's
like
happened.
a handful of clutch games. Maybe it's just I don't know.
That
Yeah.
that's an
know who
award
leads
I'm
clutch,
still like. That's an award I'm still like getting a feel for how to evaluate. Like I feel like I have to watch a lot more basketball than 10 games. Like even for an early opinion, like I don't know who I would. Like clutch opportunities like that are so like few and far between. I don't feel like I have like a solid
yeah.
sample size to draw
Right.
from.
So as it stands
still waiting.
right now, Dame and Steph lead the league in clutch points.
What I meant to say was that is I would say all of that if I was fucking stupid, and that's why my clutch player of the year is Damian Lillard.
Yeah, surprisingly, actually, in 4 clutch games that the Bucks have played, he has 32 points in the clutch on 8 for 15 from the field.
Oh, he's been amazing in these close games.
Yeah, and a lot of free throws.
That one game. Okay, cry about it.
He's shooting a lot more free throws than anyone else is.
That one game when Giannis got ejected midway through, and I'm not even gonna harp about that. And he just went and scored 18 points in the fourth by himself and got us the
That
win.
shit was so funny because there's a point in the fourth where I made a post on our server. I was like, Damian Lillard getting outscored by Marcus Sasser. Is he hashtag over? And then he scores like 16 consecutive points in 7 minutes. I was like, shit, my bad, y'all.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, no, I don't really have a read on
But
it.
yeah, I
Steph
mean,
can
there's-
have it if he wants it. I'll
There's
wait
not
till
really
like
much
the
to say about it.
the
Right
Todd
now.
Whitehead Twitter post for like clutch EWA.
Anthony Edwards? Maybe.
No.
I'd have to. I don't see.
I don't
it
know.
here.
I don't know, man. He put the Celtics away single-handedly.
I'm not arguing it on like an analytical or numeric basis. I just don't want him to. So, all right, MIP, the most interesting one.
Yeah, we are, to my understanding, quite divided on this one.
Yeah.
Do we all want to list like our 2 guys, or are we just gonna narrow it down to 1, or how do we want to do this?
Are you keeping Haywood Highsmith?
Oh, no, he was never. Okay,
Oh,
no,
my
he was
bad, my
never
bad,
in
my
the
bad.
conversation, mind you.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we can do our 2 guys.
Well, I want to go first because I need to get out ahead on the propaganda that you tried to lift from me. I have been the biggest Jalen Johnson enjoyer for a fucking minute now, and probably the biggest advocate for him on this pod. Jalen Johnson, most improved player. Can we all give a round of applause for Jalen Johnson?
I'll snap.
I would, but I don't think my mic picks it up if I clap. Like it.
You guys are so fucking fake, yo.
No, look.
Yeah,
The
I get
gesture,
it.
the gesture is appreciated. Nah, man. Shout out to Jalen Johnson. I don't like the way that NBA media presents and votes for Most Improved Player as an award. I've said this many times over the years, and I will present it now on this podcast. I don't believe that just a statistic jump warrants some of these award winners. I think that narratives in awards are normally dumb. I think this is the only award that should be narrative driven. I think people like Larry Markkinen and like Victor Oladipo and people like that more embody what I want from this award than the way that traditional media votes on it. For example, the John Morant MIP. I don't like giving it to highly touted prospects who coming into the league were projected to be all NBA players, and then they become an all NBA player, and it's like, holy shit, he's the best ever. Maybe. Am I
Granted, though, Victor Oladipo was the number 2 overall pick, but
right?
Yeah,
But
not unlike a certain
right, but then he was bad.
Morant.
Right, but then he was bad or I guess like average mid. He bounced around to a couple different teams. We didn't really know, what type of place he was going to have in this league. John Morant was in his 3rd year, and it was like, obviously he didn't look like an All NBA player before, but he had not been like a negative player, like getting traded to different teams and stuff like that. Like this was not some dude whose career was like in question. It was just a matter of like when he was going to improve. And so I personally, or like Lowry, for example, last year, high draft pick with the Bulls, never really looked super crazy while he was there. Gets traded to the Cavs, and he's a role player now. He's basically just like a 3-and-D. He's playing small forward at 7 foot. And he looked the best he had in a while in a minimized role. And then he gets traded to Utah, and it was like, okay, he might get moved to like another team. And then he just broke out and became an all-star, fringe all-NBA player. And it's like that to me more embodies what I want from this award, when, the improvement is more unexpected, I guess, if that makes sense. And Jalen Johnson to me embodies exactly what I want from this award. 20th overall pick a few years ago, really did not play at all his rookie year. Played a bit last year, but he wasn't really this like standout talent. But like people who watch him know, like, or who have been watching him over the years know, like, he's always had this like super gifted athleticism and like some pretty special playmaking and like vision, like passing chops for his position. I love guys like him who can see the floor like that. Switchable defender, and the efficiency has been outstanding this year. I mean, he's shooting almost 60% from the field, 40% from 3 almost. And whether or not you think he's going to keep that for the rest of the year is one thing, but we're doing these based on if the season ends right now. And to me, he went from an end of the bench guy to like a very, very quality NBA starter who is helping drive, why they've been 6-4 and they're 5th in the conference right now. So shout out to him. Honorable mention, Tyrese Maxey. I've talked about him quite a bit. From the moment I saw him on opening night, I was like, dude, he's just going to be different this year. And the shot making really has not tapered off. We've kind of known he's been really good for a while, and so you might think that contrasts with what I've said earlier, but he's just in like such a different role now. He's always been this more like complimentary guy, one of the best off-ball scorers in the league, and like this transition threat and stuff, and like he can put the ball on the floor. He's playmaking now, I mean, he's the lead guard, and he's getting everybody involved, and he's like really driving a lot of their offensive success with Embiid. And the shot making and the efficiency has just been on another level. So shout out to both those guys. I would take Jalen Johnson personally, but I think if you went either way, you wouldn't be particularly wrong.
Yeah, I would say if the season ended today, that Jalen Johnson would probably have a pretty good argument to win it. Seth, your mic is muted. Oh, okay. So yeah, I won't push back too much on that. I do think the efficiency is a little bit fake, like you said, but his shot does seem to be at least marginally improved from last season. I mean, it was pretty broke, and now it goes in most of the time. We'll have to see if that stays the case. For me right now, I would say maybe not the guy who's improved the most, but the guy whose improvement has translated to wins more than anybody else in the league, I would say, is Tyrese Halliburton. I think, last year, obviously, he was like an all-star caliber player. He averaged 20 and 10. He was fantastic, and it felt like kind of his breakout year. This season, I feel like there's been a lot more refinement in his game. The balance that he's struck between his own individual scoring and his playmaking and finding open teammates has been better than we've ever seen. It feels like he's really like nailed that aspect of his game, where it felt like sometimes he was maybe a little too passive, looking for his own shot. Now he's a lot more aggressive. He's scoring more. He's driving more. So, and obviously, the Pacers are the best offense in the NBA, which is in large part a testament to his skill, considering they really are not a very talented offensive team, on paper at least.
Ooh. I just pulled up the numbers. The Indiana Pacers with Tyrese Halliburton on the floor have a 128
Yeah,
offensive rating.
that is ludicrous.
With him off, they are at a 113.
That is insane.
That's a big deal.
So yeah, I mean, for me, his improvement and the way he's leveled up each aspect of his game has been really he's influenced the change in wins of his team more than probably any other player in the league. The other guy I would say in this spot, given the convention of the award, is probably Cam Thomas. I mean, we're seeing him go from, what did he average last season, like maybe 10, 11 points per game? Yeah, 10 and a half points per game. He's averaging 27 through 8 games of this season. I mean, I feel like almost any year, this is the kind of guy that wins MIP, like just a ridiculous scoring jump.
By the convention, you just mean that like he's playing and shooting more, and so they'll give it to him?
Yeah, pretty much. By the convention of the largest statistical increase. That
I think he is genuinely quite improved. I mean, we talked about it a lot last episode. Like the progression of his shot making and like how much more confident and skilled he looks at getting to his spots and all that stuff. So
yeah, I totally agree. I think more so. I mean, I think if he had played this much last season, he probably could have averaged like 20, 22 a game. But given that he's now playing a lot more and shooting a lot more, he's averaging a lot more points. Most years, Cam Thomas would probably win MIP, and I don't think he would be particularly undeserving of it. I mean, I think he definitely improved.
Yeah, like I think Cam Thomas, he's been better, but I think compared to like our Quinn Tyrese's, where both of them have increased their playmaking volume and their own scoring volume and been more efficient in both. I think that's not like as good as Cam is. He's really only good at the thing, or improved much at the thing he was already good at, which is taking shots.
Mm-hmm.
I still don't love his impact enough to consider him here. I think, yeah, if it ended today, I would probably also be a Jalen Johnson guy, because on a per possession basis, and I'm like a Connor. I know you said earlier that you think that like this award should be like that it's good that awards like these are very narrative based, and I agree. And my narrative is that you suck and are wrong for that, and I don't agree at all.
Okay, ride my dick harder, why don't you?
Hey, man, I've been waiting for like 5 minutes to say that. Anyway,
oh man,
I think that I feel like going on a pure production basis is totally fine if it's not just someone getting a bigger role or playing more minutes, and there's actually like material improvements in their skills and like their per possession like ability. Which is my guy. Like I think Jalen Johnson, if the season was 10 games long, he would win it, but it's not, so he's not going to, because there's going to be some normal regression with like his shooting and stuff like that. So I think in terms of the guy I've watched, who I think is the most improved in terms of like tangible skills is Scotty Barnes. I think, and we talked about this before the thing, and like Scotty Barnes is not quite like a Ja Morant in that he was. What are you doing with it? I mean, Scotty Barnes last year had like a pretty unfortunate year. Like he went from the Rookie of the Year to people like making Michael Carter Williams jokes about him, which, by the way, very mean. But
they were not totally inaccurate.
I guess
time.
No, I guess more with Scotty, it felt like he had like stagnated. Like nothing really had jumped about his game from a rookie to a sophomore.
He was like just the same player.
Yeah.
In some aspects, he looked worse.
Yeah.
And so it was like kind of a concern. They were talking about trading him for KD, trading him for fucking I don't know, whoever else the Raptors pretend that they want to get, but then don't. And then like we get into this year, and it's like he's handling the ball in the pick and roll, and he's like guarding the best player very often, and he's shooting threes and making them sometimes. Like pretty often even. And like I think just the level to which he has like elevated his game, basically every aspect of his game really just looks better. Um,
Yeah,
Holistically.
the driving and the live dribble shot making has what's really stood out to me.
Yeah, the live
Um,
dribble passing as well, like being
mm,
able to make like genuinely advanced reads instead of just being like a, oh, he's the guy, he can swing it, he can drive and kick. It's like no, he can make like the second level pass, like he can like look off a guy and then hit a cutter. He can do shit like that. He's good at it now.
Yeah.
And
Nick Nurse getting fired might have been the best thing to ever happen to
And
this young
he
man's
was
life.
always a pretty capable defender, but I feel like his defense has just exploded this year. Like I feel like
Well,
it's
yeah, I mean,
so
easy.
much better.
Yeah, I mean, last year he was like in the top percentile of matchup versatility. So like he was guarding a ton of different positions, but I don't think he was nearly this effective at it.
He wasn't doing it that
Last
well.
year.
Yeah, it was more of
No.
like a Raptors necessity thing because they love to do the LOL. Everyone is 6'9", and not
Yeah.
because he was like especially good at it. But now he's like really good at it. Um, yeah, no, and for me, like he went from like a guy who's like, is this like a, is this like a sixth man type of player? Is he good at all? Like, what does his future look like? Can we see any improvement? And now it's like, he's nuts. He's kind of looked like their best player thus far this season. Some of that is Pascal, bladder exploding everywhere, but mainly Scotty has just been really fucking good, and I'm really happy for him. Um, yeah, Scotty Barnes. That's my pick for like by the end of the year. I think he'll win it.
Word. See, I don't hate that one as much as the John Morant thing because again, his skill set has just like completely changed
Yeah,
in a very short off season.
yeah, and I feel like the expectations on him were very tempered coming into this year because he had just come off like a really like sour, lukewarm ass year on a team that was a lot worse than people thought it was going to be.
Yeah. All right. Well, that is all the awards done. Like I said, leave your list down below, and let us know what you thought about ours. We had a docket of national games. We do this every week where we just kind of lay out the national games and then we'll sprinkle in like the other stuff. The national games this week.
Some of these games kind of sucked, bro. Like
Yeah,
the first one we have here is Knicks Spurs. We ate.
Blowout.
We
The
dogged those
Warriors
boys.
Nuggets game was really good. The Warriors
Yeah,
Nuggets game was
it
really
was.
really good. But I feel like we've talked about the Nuggets a lot. Maybe the Warriors not so much, but
Everyone talks about the Warriors. Who cares, man? We'll be fine.
Yeah.
I have instituted a 1 week ban on talking about the Lakers and talking about my team, because I feel like we talk about the Lakers and the Bucks every single episode, and I want to squeeze in some of these other teams that we don't get to discuss as much. Are we including the Nets in that? Like we have this Nets Celtics game. Do we care?
I mean, that game
Nets
wasn't interesting. We
Celtics.
can talk about the Nets as a whole if you want to, but that game was just like.
Yeah, I'm with
Oh
that.
yeah, this game, the Lonnie Walker game.
I mean,
I like that.
that's the thing. There's been a few Lonnie Walker games this season, and it's like, I don't know if he's good, but he's been interesting, right? Like,
Uh,
it feels like there's more flashes of like the guy we saw for that one quarter last year in the playoffs. You remember that was a really cool quarter that everyone talked about for a few weeks.
Everyone especially is talking at me about that quarter. I recall.
Oh yeah, that's right. You're the anti Lonnie Walker guy.
I'm not an
I mean-
anti Lonnie Walker guy. I just don't think he's that good.
No,
I mean, he
he's-
had a
he's
decent
not.
stretch like early last season with the Lakers, and then he kind of, after all the trades and stuff, he kind of just like fell out of the rotation. But I thought he was like pretty fine at the start of the year for them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. He's just kind of like a fine player, and he's been better than fine lately. It's been nice to see. Claxton is back. Hopefully, he can.
My
anchor
my
the
fantasy
defense
team
a
is
little
loving
bit.
that, by the way.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, Dinwiddie's been himself. The Cam Thomas thing, we've kind of talked about it at length. Like, it feels weird because I actually kind of hate players like these who only shoot, really, and that's like most of what they're good at. You know, like taking shots. But I think the Nets offense is like genuinely so challenged for scoring points right now that having a dude who can just like generate average quality shots and make them at an average quality clip a lot of the time is like actually kind of a value add
Yeah,
for them.
especially too
Yeah.
because Mikhail's like struggled a lot to start the season with his own shot making.
Yeah,
they
he
really
has-
needed that.
He has not been Brooklyn Bridges as of late, and they really miss Cam Johnson right now. Get
Yeah.
Well,
well
he
soon,
just
bub.
came back. He had a good game, I think, the other night.
Or sorry, they have missed
Yeah.
him rather.
Mm-hmm.
Dorian Finney-Smith is like kind of back though. That's fucking sweet. Shooting
Yeah, I'm
44% from three. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I think they said. Okay, sorry, small Bucks sidebar just because it's included here. I think they said when we played them that he was leading the league in 3-point percentage from one of the corners. He's shooting like 60 something percent from one of the corners,
Yeah,
or
His
like
game.
and his
something
volume
ridiculous.
is really high too.
Yeah, he's 44% on the year on 7 attempts a game. He's back.
Yeah, the volume of this whole Nets team from three is actually really high. They shoot a lot of threes.
Yeah, and they make a lot of them too. I'm a little like lukewarm. Like right now they have like the 7th best offense. I'm lukewarm on that. On dunks and threes, they do this like offensive adjustment, changing for like strength of schedule and like, shooting variance and like this has the Nets more at like an average offense. Like this has them 14th, but 14th is better than I was expecting.
Yeah,
Like
14th would be
even
pretty
adjusting.
solid.
Like if they can just
Yeah,
be
I
the
mean-
14th best offense, they can like make a little play-in run. They can maybe make the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, we talked a lot about their point guard struggles this offseason, so
Yeah.
it's nice to see them come along this way. Another thing from the Bucks broadcast when we played them, they said something like 40% of all of their points that they have scored so far this season comes from the 3-point line, which is it might be highest in the league. It's either highest in the league or like second highest. But yeah, I mean they take and make a shit ton of threes, and I would be interested to dive into the shot quality on a lot of those. Because without like a conventional point guard in Dinwiddie, I'm interested to see if they're generating like super quality looks.
Yeah, the Nets right now have the 5th highest 3-point attempt rate in the NBA.
Matter of fact, I'm going on B-ball index. Why don't you guys talk for a little bit? Let me go see if I can find this.
About the Nets.
Yeah, I don't know anything really.
I
I was
don't really
taking
know
a
that
look
I have
at,
much else to say about the Nets.
I was gonna see how many wide open threes the Nets like to take. So the Nets actually have the 7th most wide open threes generated per game. Number 1, Indiana Pacers, by the way, by a lot.
Yeah.
Sounds
No,
about
do
right.
it.
Yeah. But yeah, no, it seems like the Nets are getting. I mean, they are hitting them at kind of an absurd rate. 44% on said wide open threes. Usually, you want to see like 38 there for a normal number, but like
Yeah,
Coming into the season though, I would not have pegged them to be generating
creating
that
those,
many
yeah.
wide open threes.
yeah, no, I mean, good for them, right?
That's a mark of good coaching, I would say.
Yeah, sure.
Shout out to Jacques Vaughn.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the other very funny team that is having some good luck with 3-pointers
Dog, we
that we
got
haven't
like
talked about yet?
we got like 6 teams on here.
Yeah,
You're
but
talking
the
about
one
the
that's
one.
funny, the funny one.
There's a couple of really funny teams in here. I don't know.
No. It's funny that it's good funny. You know what I mean?
Oh, talking about the
The
Mavericks.
Houston Rockets.
Oh shit.
Yeah. So the Rockets, I don't know if you guys
Cryptic.
know this, are winning basketball games.
for now.
This is a really unexpected development, and will probably
For now,
be
they're winning
rectified
basketball
soon.
games.
It
Yeah.
will
Yeah,
definitely be rectified soon.
Tari Eason came back, and that's why they're winning. Let's keep it real.
I think it's because Dylan Brooks arrived where he was always meant to be. He's been so weirdly good. I kind of love it
Okay.
for him.
Yeah.
You want to talk about variance and regression and all this other shit?
Who's leading the league in 3-point percentage right now?
You tell me that this is real. 53% for 3. Where is he in the league in true shooting? I want to know.
True shooting? I don't know. He's towards the very top.
It's
Six-
69 69%. Like,
I mean, he's first in 3-point percentage. That's really all
I
you
know.
need.
I'm pretty sure he has a
That's-
higher true shooting than Steph Curry at this point.
I love that for him. Yeah. So the Rockets. Here's the thing. They're not actually good. I think you probably didn't need me to tell you that. Their opponents are currently shooting 32% from 3 against them on the season. That's not real. But it could be worse. Like when you watch them, it looks like that they're not shit, and I think that's important that they're not shit.
I think for me, the really nice thing about the Rockets is Jalen Green and Jabari Smith are like putting the ball through the net. That's cool.
Yeah, Jalen Green, he's doing his best. Jabari, I think this version of Jabari is a lot more consistent with who I kind of thought he was going to be last year. Maybe I'm just stupid, but I think a version of Jabari that is like a league average 3-point shooter feels a lot more reasonable based on like, who he is as like or who he is as a prospect and who he is at like the foul line and who he is from mid range. Like, it felt like 31% was not really that indicative for him last year from past the arc, and this is. I mean, Jabari Smith was supposed to be like the 3-and-D guy, and I feel like he's more fitting into that mold this year, and he's being a lot more efficient with it. So I'm happy for him.
It's sad to say because I was kind of hoping that it wouldn't be true, but the Amen Thompson situation and the Cam Whitmore situation have played out pretty much exactly the way that we kind of thought they would. I mean, Cam Whitmore was on a fucking G League assignment not too long ago. Like,
Yeah. Cam's getting no run. Eamon was getting no run, and now he's hurt. And, the run that he was getting was
great.
Yeah, was also not optimal.
Fred has also been predictably terrible. I mean, shooting the ball wise.
I mean, Fred
He's
looks,
setting a culture.
He's still just Fred VanVleet, man. Like
He's just a great vet.
I don't even know if this is him shooting the ball terribly. I think this is just what he does.
It's kind of his game at this point to
Like shooting
do
37% from three and then 40% from inside the arc. That's kind of just his thing. He does that.
Did you guys know he leads the league in leadership per 100 possessions?
Is that true?
Yeah.
Is that true? I would have thought that would have been Chris Paul, but you know what?
His mentorship per possession is like historically high.
I'm actually
Oh my God.
curious.
Badges acquired per game.
Yeah, he's shooting 55% from 0 to 3. That is
Wow.
staggering.
Is that above average for him?
I think so. It's slightly below his career average.
Well, but you know what? It was, oh boy, this fucking guy.
He's shooting 12% from 3 to 10, which is like well below his averages.
Yeah, the fabled one-level scorer.
I do want to give Alp a little bit of love because it seems that
He's been very efficient.
It seems that Ime Udoka has finally cracked the code that Steven Silas never could, and that if you give Alperen Sengun the ball on offense, good things happen, and also you have to give him the ball because he's not the best on defense.
Because he
and
can't shoot, yeah.
If he's not doing that, then he's not the most useful. But no, I mean he's looked really, really good. They're running a lot more through him. He has nearly doubled his assists, and he's turning the ball over less, which is really nice. He's fouling less. Obviously, more scoring, more everything from last year. And I think they've found some ways to maybe fit him better into the scheme where he's not always at the rim, and they've had Jabari down there a little bit. It's just nice to see him get burn and not be subbed out in the fourth quarter for Bruno Fernando and fucking Usman Garuba.
That's defense right there. Did you guys know the Houston Rockets are one of I believe it's one of 3 teams to be top 10 in offense and defense right now?
Wow, that is something.
Spectacular.
Tari Eason is the love of my life, so I really, honestly, I hope that they stay good and competitive. But I need them to not be too good because I need to be right about a lot of things that I said this offseason. So if they can finish like a couple games above 500, I'm good with that.
I don't think that's in the cards. I think this is like a 30 to 35 win team that's having a really fortunate stretch. But the fact that they can't even manufacture a fortunate stretch, that was not even really in the cards for them last year. Like even when the dice landed on 12, it was like, well, you still suck. So whatever.
Yeah, I mean they've comparatively had a pretty weak schedule as well. Like a lot of this stuff is going to normalize.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think they're like a -2, -3 net rating team, which is still a lot better than they were last year. So
yeah.
Should we talk about the other interesting Texas team?
The Spurs? No, I'm.
You're a freak.
Oh, I love the Dallas Mavericks. I love Luka Doncic.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised by how little we've managed to fit them in and talk about them so far this season for how good they've been, really. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, all our Mavericks talk has just been, like, talking about Derek Lively.
Yeah. No, I mean... I mentioned Luka a little bit earlier. The efficiency, for at least the 3-point efficiency, seems kind of fake. But I mean, they're 8-3 right now.
I'm not even gonna say it's kind of fake. What he's doing is fake as shit. He is not gonna shoot 43% on 10 attempts a game. It's not gonna happen.
I mean, the Mavericks as a whole are not going to shoot 39.5%.
It is really cool that he's doing that, though. I do like that he's doing that, but fuck no, that's not happening. Especially on his degree of difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
Grant Williams has been fantastic for them.
Grant Williams has been awesome. He's been he looks like almost a perfect fit there right now.
I said in the offseason, I loved the Grant Williams acquisition, and
yeah, I agreed.
It is paying dividends right now. You know, he said a lot after his exit from Boston, and you know, even prior to that, where he was like, I feel like I can do more in an offense. You know, I don't want to just be a spot up guy in the corner. I feel like I can be involved in like dribble handoffs and more movement actions, and you know, have stuff run for me to get open looks instead of just like being a floor spacer. And I mean, he was correct. 51, almost 52% from three on the season. Their offense is just significantly more reliable when he's in the game compared to like Derek Jones Jr. or some of these other wings that they have. He's been really good, man. He's been really, really good. Yeah. We have given some Derek Lively praise. Shout out to D Live. He's been pretty solid. A lot better than I think any of us projected him to be. There was quite a bit of discussion about a different color highlighting on the Google Docs when we got to the Derek Lively pick.
Yeah, I will say the one thing that really, or I guess two things really impressed me about Derek Lively right now is his efficiency. Like, I'm astonished. Like, I know he's only dunking the ball, but even still, like, you know, when he's not dunking the ball, he's looked to have some pretty decent touch around the rim. But I've been really impressed with his offensive rebounding, actually. Like, his rebounding in college underwhelmed me a lot. Like, I don't want to understate this. A lot. I was very underwhelmed by his rebounding in college.
I mean, he was kind of weak in college on the glass, really.
Yeah, I mean, at least on the offensive glass, he looks very, very effective right now. And he's giving the Mavericks a lot of extra and really easy possessions. Like, his kickouts have been solid. He says he's got good solid hands. Like, he's not just losing the ball like an idiot, which is nice. Yeah,
feels like his motor is much higher.
Too. Yeah, he looks a lot more active too. I mean, defensively, like, you know, he still isn't great, and the issues that I noted about him during the draft are, like, in my opinion, like a lot of times still present. He's been effective enough and better, certainly better than the replacements that they have for him. So. That's good. But I mean, this Mavericks team, I mean, they were never really going to be any good at defense. And I don't think Lively is going to change that to any significant degree.
Yeah. I mean, it's mostly like the offensive mode. Like, he rolls hard, he cuts hard, he crashes the glass super hard. Which is good because, I mean, that was part of the thing, like, a lot of people, including myself, had issues with, which is like, bro, you were like 7'1" and can really jump and really move. And you kind of just don't use that very much on offense. Like, he does a lot of hanging out. And this year he's not doing a lot of hanging out. Some of that is definitely playing with Luka, but I mean that's what it is to be a rookie in the NBA. You know, he's adapting very well to his environment, and I've been impressed with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. As much as Luka does make everything easier for you, you do have to show some sort of willingness to be in the right spots and, you know, understand where you need to be to play at his pace. And I think he's done a pretty good job of that.
Yeah.
As far as the rest of the team too, like, the auxiliary production that they're getting from their role players right now is really crazy. Like, obviously, like, Luke is doing insane shit. Kyrie is Kyrie. I mean, he's not shooting that much, but I mean, he's still Kyrie Irving. But I mean, they're shooting the lights out, like, top to bottom. We talked about Grant Williams already. I mean, obviously it's not sustainable, but I mean, he's shooting 52% from three. Tim Hardaway's looked really good in all the games that I've watched. I mean, he's obviously back. Yeah, he does look back. He's obviously never going to be the most efficient guy. He's kind of a chucker, but he's giving them a lot of scoring punch off the bench. Like, he's averaging 18 a game off the bench, no starts, and that's crazy to me. Even their bigs, like, Dwight Powell looks really good in this bench role, I gotta say. Like, Dwight Powell against other bench bigs, like he looks very, very effective.
I've always liked him and just wished that they had better center personnel for him to, I mean, do what he's doing now. Come off the
Yeah.
bench. I think that suits him more. He's never been this like staunch rim protector or anything. He's much more like a hustle guy. Like he can get you some extra possessions.
And he matches up against
deflections.
like small ball really, really well. And most
Yeah,
teams
he
in the
can move.
NBA are like playing small ball lineups off the bench.
I think people don't realize that Dwight Powell, like for all of his like deficiencies as a player, for a center he can like legit move on the perimeter.
Yeah.
And
White
he can
bubble.
guard.
Yeah.
And I mean, otherwise, it's kind of tough. Like, randomly, Seth Curry just doesn't look like an NBA player at all right now,
He
which
barely
kind of
plays. It's
sucks.
so
He
weird.
hasn't played. It's strange.
Yeah,
The best
I thought he was going to be
team
a.
in the NBA has Seth Curry on the bench, and he
Yeah.
doesn't play.
I thought he was going to be a much bigger part of what they're doing, and maybe that's soon to come. Like, I don't know what the reasoning is for him not
His minutes
playing
are
or
being
him
cut by
shooting like
Dante
shit.
Exum.
Yeah, I mean,
mean-
Dante Exum too. He's not even playing that much either.
I mean, it is as strange it is to say. There's just a lot of guard minutes to go around
Yeah.
between like Luka, Kyrie, Josh Green,
Jaden Hardy.
Jaden Hardy,
Yeah.
Dante Exum to a certain degree. It's a lot to fit in there.
Even Derek Jones too. Like Derek Jones, I've called him a shitbot in
That's
the
a
past.
center
I'm
as
going to
far
be
as
honest.
they're
but
concerned, man. That's a 5.
Why are they starting him?
I don't know, but he's shooting 36% from three, which I know is not his game. But he's just doing it, I guess. So
I was just curious. I was looking at Tim Hardaway's B-ball reference. Did you guys know he hasn't missed a free throw yet this year?
I didn't know that actually.
No.
That is
He is 27 for 27 on the year so far.
goddamn.
Impressive.
Is he the new Tony Snell?
Makes you think.
But yeah, I mean, I've always liked Tim Hardaway, and I like that he's not shit as he has
He's
been the last few
so
seasons.
fun to watch when he like gets hot.
Yeah,
He's one of those guys where, like you said, he's never going to be the most efficient, but like personally, if he's scoring at this volume, like I'll take it. I'll take the couple games.
I mean, he's like in entering like 6th man of the year territory, which is an award that we forgot to mention. But I mean, as of right now, he would probably be
I
the
forgot
6th
that was
man
an
of the year.
award.
I mean, well,
I didn't.
We often
I
do.
didn't put it on there. I didn't put it on there because I felt like I needed a larger sample size. I should have mentioned it probably, but
But yeah, I mean, I like he's averaging 18 a game off the bench, moderately efficiently, like, and their offense is number 2 in the NBA right now, behind the Pacers, I think, and he's a
Well,
large
it's
part of that. Like when
it's
they
something you gotta
when they stagger minutes, like he's one of the go-to guys, and he looks really, really good at it.
something you gotta think about. I think Seth's gonna fucking hate me for saying this. I think in a vacuum, sometimes efficiency is slightly overrated. Especially when you look at guys like this, like 6-man types, where he comes into the game and he's usually playing without Luka or Kyrie or both, and it's a lot of like unassisted buckets and stuff like that. Personally, if he's gonna shoot 43% from the field, I will live with that from a guy like him who scores in bunches, where yeah, you might have like 2 games in a row where he shoots like 1 of 6 or something, and he only plays like 15 minutes. If you're gonna have another game where he comes in and scores like 22 or 24 off the bench and shoots like 10 of 15 or something, I think in his role and the types of shots that he takes, that he has to take because no one else can, I'll live with that efficiency. I think he's been doing a phenomenal job.
No, I mean I'm not gonna hate you for that. I totally agree. He adds like an element of dynamism to their offense when in the rare no Luka, no Kyrie minutes where it's like you can feel okay about shots being generated. Also, he's not really an inefficient like he's a chucker, but he's not a bad chucker. Like he makes
Yeah.
and he's a good enough 3-point shooter that his like as like a true shooting kind of guy, he usually ends up like pretty average.
Yeah, I mean, this season,
it's-
especially, like he's taken a jump in true shooting from his last 2 seasons, which is nice.
Wait, his
So-
last 2 seasons, he also kind of those were like
Yeah,
bad.
I mean, he
for his
stunk and
standard.
got hurt in between, so I mean, you know,
Yeah.
a little credence.
Like
there, but-
2021, Tim Hardaway is like the kind of player that I was hoping he would return to, and it feels like he looks like that.
So you're not gonna like take a post-it note and write like a cleaning the glass login on it and like throw a rock attached to it through my window
Oh man,
or something. You're not gonna like blow up my house because I said efficiency's overrated.
Oh, Connor, I left the car outside for you to turn on.
Oh yeah, actually, I just mailed you something, bro. Like that ass.
Yeah, no, it's chill. No, I understand the value. I do. I feel like, just as like a quick aside, I definitely think he is second in the league in scoring among players who don't really start versus Karis LeVert, and I kind of have, I think I have more problems with Karis as a player than I do with Tim. So
Yeah.
he can have it as a treat, or maybe
I
like
mean, he's just a
Malcolm,
much better shooter than
Brogdon's
Karras
thing.
is. Karras is like bench DeMar in a lot of ways. Like he
Yeah,
loves his little
he's like
mid-range
a
pull-ups.
his little tween pull up kind of
Yeah.
guy. That's the kind of guy I don't like. If you're a chucker but you take threes, that's the good shot, not the bad shot, the mid
I
range
said
one.
Yeah.
this. I said this in the offseason. We were talking about the Cavs. I think Karis LeVert's problem that holds him back from being like a super quality role player is that he does these really cool things sometimes, but also he just like forgets that he's Karis LeVert
Mm.
is like his thing. Like he does some really impressive shit, except it just would never go in because he's Karis LeVert.
I think he never forgets that he's Karis LeVert. I think just who he thinks Karis LeVert is might be a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's Karis LeVert time. Karis LeVert every game.
Yeah.
But he puts up buckets, I guess. Good for him. Uh oh shit. What other teams? We have one more. No, we have two more teams that are like kind of cool to talk about, and then we go down like the row of ass. Do you want to talk about the Hawks?
We can talk about the Hawks.
The Hawks are good. I like the
Um,
Hawks. Big fan of the Hawks.
they have been a very pleasant watch. 6-4, fifth in the conference right now. Let me look
Man,
at the team rating and stuff. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm really upset about this because this is not my guy. DeJounte Murray has looked good, and it's kind of making me feel weird.
He is shooting the lights out. It's
What,
crazy.
what do you mean by that?
Like it, my bad. Look, he's like, I don't really like the way he plays basketball most of the time, but he's like, since he's gotten to Atlanta, he's definitely like increased. Like even last year was like one of his best, or perhaps his best 3-point shooting year, considering like the efficiency and volume. And now he's like really ticked that up, and it feels not that fake because like his mid range was always good, and like his free throw is like, yeah, like he's an elite guy from the line now. He's like 83, 84% last 2 years. If DeJounte Murray can like actually shoot and like be this like secondary guy instead of just Trae Young B, that opens up so much more for their offense because I mean Trae Young is having a terrible efficiency year right now.
I
But
was gonna say they
the thing
definitely
he
needed it.
yeah, the thing he will never be terrible at though is swinging that rock. And you
Ain't
play
that
with
fucking
Trae Young,
truth.
you will get some very open threes. You will get some lobs. You just need to be in the right spot. And DeJounte Murray this year, I think, has done a much better job at being in the right spot. And when he is in the right spot, he takes advantage of it.
It's crazy that he's shooting 40% from three now because if you remember, he didn't hit his first three until they played us in game 4, I think, of the season. He started the season like 1 for 10 and has just been red hot ever since then.
Yeah. In general, this team is generating and making like a lot more threes than they have.
And that's with Trae Young being terrible.
Yeah.
Like from in terms of scoring anyway. That's the thing. He can never really be terrible because no matter how ass he is from the field, he's just always gonna create so many looks. And his guys are doing a great job for it. So even if they cool off, he will like heat up. And I mean they're like what the fifth ranked offense. This is what a Trae Young team looks like. And their defense is it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
And let me be perfectly clear because man, Rayford has had a river of shit running down his leg.
What
these
what
9
is with
games.
it? I need to say this, bro. I've met 3 people ever who insist on calling Trey Rayford when he sucks, and they're all Bucks fans. Do you guys hate him?
I've never. Well, yeah, we all pretty much hate him. I feel like you should too. You have way more beef. But
I don't know.
Dude, bro, that was 3 years ago. I don't care.
guess what else was 3 years ago? Our series.
And you
And,
won. Who
and we
cares?
won. And we won. Yeah, but he's super annoying. It's whatever. I'm not gonna get into it here. Listen, I've never called him that before, but he's also never done this before. So, I mean, 35% from the field.
You see 35, I see 5. Fifth ranked offense. That's the Trey Young effect.
Hey man,
Yeah, think of how much better it could be if he scored more.
if he was like human, anytime soon.
That's
like,
insane. Holy shit. No, I mean I get it. I get it. That to me is inspiring for the way this Hawks team goes forward. Is that it feels like the Trey DeJounte minutes are a lot more figured out, and that Trey like in those minutes it is still like mostly Trey. Like they haven't done this like your turn, my turn. Like they do Trey as like the primary guy still, and DeJounte more like plays off of him. You know, like rotates around the back. Like he's the fuck. What do they call it? The dude who rises up on like the driving kick. Whatever. It's not important.
lifter.
Oh yeah, the lift guy. And he like makes plays off of that all the time. It's been nice to see. And you know what? I said before, I'll say it again. If anyone was able to come in and get this Hawks team with Trey Young and a bunch of guys to a really good offense, it would probably be Quinn Snyder. So here we are.
I
Yeah.
have been championing Quinn Snyder for a minute now.
The
I
one-
do wish he would play AJ Griffin more.
I was just
but
about to say the one unfortunate and sort of weird thing about this Hawks team is that AJ Griffin's just like not really playing.
Take it up with Jalen Johnson, man. That's his fault.
Yeah, I mean that's
Yeah,
like,
but they're only playing like 8 guys. Like I feel like I feel like you can get
a
to
lot of
They
them-
are playing 8 guys. When do they think this is the playoffs?
yeah,
a lot of-
they've only been playing 8 guys.
For those of you not looking, because I doubt all of you have Basketball Reference pulled up currently, there are 8 guys on the Atlanta Hawks who have played at least 225 minutes. AJ Griffin is 9th. He has played 64, and 10th is Trent Forrest, who has played 18. So they basically play like 8 1/3 players.
I had AJ in fantasy, and I was so excited to have him because I was predicting he was going to have a much more featured role, and he was going to be, really good this year. I ended up having to drop him because he would just get like DNPs most nights, or like he'd come in and he'd shoot like 1 of 2, and he'd only play like 7 or 8 minutes. I'm a little disappointed, but also they're winning right now with what they're doing, and a lot of their guards have given them pretty quality minutes, so I can't say anyone deserves to lose like a shit ton of burn. DeAndre Hunter's been like quite a bit better, I would say, than last year. He's been like pretty solid. Jalen Johnson's much improved. Bogey's bogey. Like, I can't say that they should be like stripping a ton of these dudes' minutes, but like, I'm a big believer in AJ Griffin.
I feel like there can be there's enough minutes allocation possible for AJ Griffin to play like 16 minutes every night.
You don't understand. Sadiq Bey needs those 28, and Bogan Bogdanovic needs those 26. And DeAndre Hunter really needs those 31. So
Yeah, I mean,
31 minutes.
it's
Wow.
tough, but I mean, they're winning enough games. Like, it's hard to argue a ton with the results. It just kind of sucks because we like AJ Griffin.
that's all we do, man. We argue with the result all day. That'd be boring if we couldn't.
True.
Yeah.
We just come on here for 2 hours and just read stuff and be like, yeah, no, actually, that sounds.
This is that. Here's why this means nothing.
Honestly,
good.
to be fair, even if we were to just get on here and just read off like results and numbers, that would probably contribute a lot to basketball discourse. Just because so many people like clearly are not aware of the actual results.
Yeah.
They just wanted it more type analysis.
Yeah. So here's on today's episode. Here's why the Nuggets are actually bad.
Yeah.
And so are the Celtics. And the best team in the NBA is the Washington Wizards. You guys want to talk about the Wizards?
Well, that's a great and interesting question because you asked if I want to talk about the Wizards, and the real answer is no. But I feel like we should say something about the Wizards. I don't know.
That's
what that
Listen,
something is.
and there's a one. If you're the one person we know that's a Wizards fan, first of all, thank you, Daniel. I appreciate it. But
I mean, you just have to understand, like,
oh man,
dude,
I don't know. This team is. Oh,
Kyle
it's
Kuzma's
like
been pretty good.
Koulibaly's cool. Do you guys want to talk about Bilal?
Not
He's
that much.
shooting-
He's shooting efficiently, which is nice.
he's shooting really efficiently.
I didn't think he had
Yeah.
that in his bag, but
He's a fast learner.
yeah, I guess.
I was wrong to a certain degree about him. I really thought he was going to come in as a rookie, and through the first few games, he was probably going to shoot like 39% for the
I mean, I don't think anyone expected 50-44 splits from this guy. And granted, it's probably not going to last, but it is cool that he's doing that.
I think my favorite part about the Bilal Koulibaly basketball reference page is that his on-off is plus 19, and it's not because the Wizards are actually good when he plays. It's because they play him opposite Jordan Poole
Yeah.
and Kyle Kuzma. So he's
Yeah.
like never on the court when they are. So when the Wizards are playing versus good players, they're never playing Bilal. And so then they get blown out and they put him in the game versus the bench guys and it's like, look, he's kind of okay. Isn't this value? And it's not, but he looks okay. He's pretty much the player that we saw before the draft process, except he's making threes at an unsustainable rate, which is good, and I'm happy for him.
I mean,
Because
I want to.
there needs to be something to be happy about.
I mean, I want to give him some credit though, because I mean, I think justifiably so, kind of ripped that whole pick apart during the draft episode. I don't think it was completely unwarranted. And so, as much as I was critical of him, I do want to give him props because I did not think he was going to look like an NBA player when the season started. And you can talk about if you think it's going to be sustainable or not. I don't think it is either. But through the first 9-10 games they've played, he looks like an NBA player. Like,
Yeah.
I think that part is sustainable. Actually, I think the shooting isn't, but like, I think he looks comfortable on the floor with the ball in an offense, which is that sounds like so low, but he was also so raw of a prospect that was a thing to be concerned about because it's like, does he have offensive skills that aren't just
Right, he's
cutting
not
and running in
deer in
transition?
headlights right now. Like he's
Yeah,
he
he's not
looks
Moses
like
Brown.
he looks like he
He's like
belongs, which
chilling.
is a baseline that I was not certain he would meet.
I was skeptical about that, and so again, as much as I was critical, he deserves credit. He has been good.
Nice. Who else has been good? Denny has been pretty surprisingly nice.
Wes Unseld Jr. needs to lose his fucking job, man, for playing this guy at center.
Bro.
Good. I know they had some injuries, but like, how dare you make me watch that? Like, do you see?
Listen, you're the one who tuned into a Wizards game, bro.
Dude, I gotta watch everything, like, to give an accurate assessment of every team and like in relation to each other and like have a clear picture of the league. Fucking dare you? How dare you?
Oh man.
Disgusting work. I want to apologize to the entire District of Columbia population because you don't deserve this. Well.
Welcome back to your favorite political podcast.
Yo.
Everyone in the District of Columbia making less than, let's call it, $90,000 a year, I would like to apologize to you, and only you.
That's funny.
I don't know what senators make, so I thought I'd be safe.
They make like a good 160.
It's more than 90,000. You're clear there.
Okay. Well, just disgusting things happening over there. Jordan Poole is a walking highlight reel for actually all of the wrong reasons.
I cannot stand watching this guy play on this
He's
team, dude.
so fucking funny.
I can't do. And I almost forgot about this, but the one possession against KP that's been plastered on Twitter, where he does like the behind the back half spin as he's walking out, and he just tries to pimp one over KP. And he's like, "What the fuck are you doing, bro? Get that out of here."
That's Milwaukee's finest right there. If you did not know, that is a product of Milwaukee right there. Shout out to JP.
It has been not a great look for Jordan Poole scoring the ball or passing the ball even.
Dude, because
or
he just
playing
bounding
defense.
the ball, stealing it, blocking it.
Because he just doesn't care.
Yeah, it's hard to watch. And I mean, granted, like to his credit, Kyle Kuzma at least has played, pretty well for his standards, at least offensively. Like he's scoring a lot of points, and he's playing less because obviously they're trying to lose. But yeah, I mean, he's had some pretty good games, which is nice. Not defending a thing though, which is funny because that was like one of the only things he was like respectable at. But
No, they are running shoot at will conservative defense over there in Washington. They have the fastest pace in the league by kind of a lot on both ends, which they chuck shots early in the clock and they give up good shots early in the clock. So they're really doing it, man.
Yeah, like I pointed out last episode that the Pacers had highest pace in the league, and like this is a good thing for like these reasons. And we you even mentioned you were like number one is the Wizards.
Yeah.
It's just the complete opposite of everything nice I've said about Indy's offense. It's just the exact opposite. And honestly, I'm really disappointed in Tyus Jones. He has looked like kind of just the exact same player. I was really excited for him to like be the full-time starter and kind of like get the keys. And I know he's not playing with like the greatest players around him, but I don't know. I mean, he has a competent he has two competent off-ball, high-volume off-ball scorers in Jordan Poole and Kuzma. He has a lob threat in Daniel Gafford. That's like all Gaff does is catch lobs and finish efficiently around the rim. I don't know. I've been kind of underwhelmed by him. Is that crazy to say?
No, I don't think it's great. I mean, bro, he got into the starting role and he's averaging 9 points. Like, sure, there's more to impact than that, but you were trying to see Tyus Jones average more than 9 points. Like,
Which is funny. I just realized all this is very funny because this is the second time in 2 years they've taken someone who I would call the best backup point guard in basketball when they got Monte Morris and they made him the starter and he's mid. It happened again. Wait, that's actually kind of crazy now that I'm thinking about it. Wow. Yeah, I don't know. I think that's enough Wizards talk. We don't want to upset any sleeping children in proximity of the podcast. And make them start vomiting in their crib.
Who
why
else
do
do
you
we
think we're
have
sleeping, man?
Do we have anyone next on the tank agenda here?
The tank agenda. We have the Bulls, the
Go to
Jazz,
the-
the Pistons, the Pistons.
Go to the
Blazers.
Hornets. Go to the Hornets. And
the
I
Hornets.
didn't do my my getting up and walking away bit last week, and so I'm gonna do that now.
All right, you know what? I'll lead discussion about that.
I said before the season started, and I'm here to stand on business. I said before the season started,
You know what? That's
while Miles Bridges, I know he hasn't played yet. While Miles Bridges is on this roster, I will not watch a single second of live Hornets basketball, and I have held myself to that. So not because they're
take a look at this. Hey, take a look at this PJ Washington box score me, bro.
I don't give a fuck. Like, I don't care.
No, it's right. Do you want to walk away? You can walk away if you want to.
I want everyone to know that this is not me being lazy at my job. I morally decided I would not watch them, and so I'm not going to sit here and give you reductive analysis. Okay, this is for quality sake. Okay.
All right.
Let's talk about how the Charlotte Hornets are not shooting any threes. You notice that?
Oh, are we actually going to talk about that?
I mean, we could. To be honest, I didn't realize this was a thing. They're just not shooting threes. Why are they not shooting threes?
They're not. That's really bizarre. I was honestly, I was planning about. I was going to talk about my fantasy football team, but we can talk about the Hornets if you want.
You can talk if you. What do you? Is there something interesting going on with your fantasy football team?
Yeah, I'm trying to trade for Jonathan Taylor, and it's not really going that well right now.
No.
No. Yeah, dude, the Hornets. I mean, I don't know. LaMelo he's creating looks. I like watching him. They take a lot of inside shots, which is a function of them not taking any outside shots, I guess.
I didn't realize, but they're just not shooting any threes. I don't understand why.
Yeah, Brandon Miller has been bad again.
yeah, something happened.
Yeah, Mark Williams, he looks like he's coming along pretty nicely as like a Daniel Gafford plus archetype. I guess,
Yeah.
Like just a more athletic. He had 15 offensive rebounds that one game. That was pretty cool.
That was really cool. I mean, across like the whole season, he's been very effective on the offensive glass, I would say. But that was just like ridiculous. Like,
Crazy game.
I haven't seen anything like that in a very long time.
Yeah, he's averaging 4 offensive rebounds a game. That's probably second in the NBA behind Mitch.
Yeah.
Taylor Maladon still gets run on this team, which is kind of remarkable.
Significant run too, considering the fact that he's shooting some of the worst splits I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I know.
30-17. 92%.
Wow.
Who the
You know
fuck
what?
shoots
That
92%
sounds
from the
ridiculous.
line and just can't shoot at all? What kind of
That
guy is
sounds
this?
ridiculous, but it's like it's Teo Maladon, so it's not. It doesn't feel that ridiculous. I don't know, dude. Like Amari Bailey doesn't play. Nick Smith doesn't play. Brandon Miller plays and is bad. Their offense is, did you know, 11th. The Mellow Ball effect. Their defense last. Again, yeah, I don't know. I'm not like worried about Mark Williams as like a long-term rim protector because it feels. I mean, so much more is wrong with that team. But I don't know. It feels like right now he's more Jalen Duren than Mark Williams compared to like last year, where it's like he gets rebounds and like gets some blocks, but doesn't feel like he's actively doing like a lot of rim protecting. You know what I
Right.
mean?
Yeah. Like he's there, but it's not very. Maybe his motor around the rim isn't that great.
Yeah, it's like a as an anchor, it feels like he's not really functioning, and it's just tough.
Are we done yet?
I mean,
We can be done.
we're
to be
kind of done.
honest.
Do you want to hear about my Jonathan Taylor trade?
I just have a quick story to tell. It's actually a good thing that we started talking about the Hornets when we did because I really had to go to the bathroom, and
You have a bathroom story to tell?
I finished
boy.
my business. It's a harrowing tale. As I finished my business, I stood up and I turned around to flush the toilet, and as I looked down, I just
my
thought,
God.
I can't get away from this Hornets team. They're right here. They're right here in front of me.
man.
I saw red. I became enraged. I punched a hole in my bathroom counter, and there's just shards of porcelain everywhere as it broke all around my 6'5" frame and my muscular arm. Why are you laughing? Who said anything funny?
This archives of our own ass story.
I was gonna say, like,
Oh, man.
bro just came back and started talking about his fan fiction. Oh my
The
god.
Wattpad,
Bro's yapping.
Yeah, no, yeah. Usually you're not supposed to look down and see red when you use the bathroom, but
I hate
you don't
this.
want to talk to a doctor about that.
I hate this team. Yeah, what watching too much Hornets basketball does to a motherfucker.
Yeah, it's tough, man. They suck. Yeah.
Well, and like they were fun, like in the second half of last year.
Okay.
We've
Yeah,
we've
well, now
always
they have the worst defense.
right.
No
That
Nick
was
Smith.
that was the one cool thing. You mean Dennis Smith Jr.?
No, Dennis. They do have Nick Smith. They don't play him anyway, so.
That was the one cool thing from last year was like they were one of the best defenses in all of basketball post All-Star break, and they finished I think like 7th or 8th. They were the best transition defense in basketball, and it looked like Dennis Smith Jr. was carving out a really nice role for himself, and now he's in Brooklyn and he doesn't play that much, and he hasn't been as good either, and it's just so sad.
It is really
Oh.
sad.
This team just depresses me. I'm done.
Yeah.
What's another
The
team?
Pistons, they're fun.
The Pistons are actually really fun. I do really
The
like
Pistons
the
are
Pistons.
the Pistons are kind of they're half fun, half funny.
I got my
It's-
joy back.
The thing is, right?
It's weird.
The Pistons are 2-10. They're at the bottom of the East. I don't think they're that bad.
They're not.
No, I don't.
I think they're like they're not good. Certainly not good. But I think like they're maybe like 12th or 13th. I don't think they're 15th.
I said that
I
in
think they're better
regards.
than the Hornets. I think they're better than the Wizards. I think they might be on par with another unnamed team that has a certain individual that will be leaving soon. Yeah, it's
in relation to earlier, I said that if we were making all defensive ballots today, I might find a place on there for Haywood Highsmith because he's been that damn good. Comfortably, Asar Thompson is an all defensive player right now. If we were making teams right now, I think he would be on there for me. He has been.
Yeah, I
excellent.
think if the season ended right now, Azar Thompson would be on my all defense.
Dude, he's one of the best. I mean, he probably is. He probably
ridiculous.
is the best. Like non-big rebounder in all of basketball right now as a rookie. He's averaging 10 rebounds a game.
I mean, what's more impressive to me than the just the rebounds in general, he is insane on the offensive glass. He's averaging 4 offensive rebounds a game.
I know.
That is
so
crazy.
So many extra possessions for a team that really struggles to like generate them in the first place. It's invaluable. And when you talk about the defense, like the amount of like superstar players that we've already seen him like get stuck to, and just like he's an excellent ball screen navigator. I mean, we all kind of said because of like more so I would have attributed it to playtime and like burn. Like there was probably more opportunity here for him than there would be for Amen in Houston. I think he's just clear cut been better regardless of
I'm on
opportunity
record
or
saying
whatnot.
that I think there's a really, really good chance that Azar is a better NBA player than Amen. And I mean, granted, I didn't think it would look anything like this early. I think the ways in which he's been good are very surprising to me. And I mean, he's had like more like good offensive performances than I was really expecting like this early
yeah.
on.
Last night he went like what 9 for 12 or
He went
something.
9 for
just
12. He had
on-
21 points. I mean, didn't make any threes, but who the fuck cares? He's scoring points. Like,
Yeah, I mean,
he's-
if he can just be like functional offensively with that defense, you're talking just about a good player.
Yeah.
He might be their best player this season.
And he's
it's
like his
weird.
playmaking is like pretty capable. I mean, we knew he was like a good passer,
Yeah.
but like he's been very good on that end.
the ability to go grab all these offensive rebounds a game and like have very tangible like purpose and IQ when he gets those boards and like is kicking it out is really impressive for someone his age, and like it's allowed him to impact the game in a lot of ways. I'm pretty sure he leads the league in stocks by a non-center. He's been so good, man. I you can make an argument about best player or not. I think he's certainly been their most impactful outside of maybe Duran. He's been
I
incredible,
would give
man.
it to Hassan.
He's been
Um,
incredible.
Yeah.
yeah. Outside of him, everything is like on fire and falling apart.
Yeah,
He's
it's
terrible.
Detroit. Like
Except Killian Hayes, who's a little bit better than he was last season. Good for him.
Killian Hayes.
Yeah,
has had some
his field goal
standout
percentage
performances
starts with a 4 now, so we're improving.
Big day for the boy. You know,
Yeah, he's
oh my
almost-
god, it's
this-
exactly 40.
This is the closest he's ever been to 50% true shooting. We're on the cusp. He's
at
right
49. We are so close.
I mean, and
He's-
more so than the averages. He's had a couple of like genuinely standout performances so far this year. I mean, versus the Sixers the other night in an 8-point loss, 23 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals. Really has
The
not
Warriors
been
game,
turning.
too.
Hasn't been turning. Yeah, the Warriors game was really good. 10
Yeah,
points, 9 assists versus
Wow, the
the
turnovers are way down,
Pelicans.
actually.
Yeah, no, he has not been turning the ball over like a ridiculous amount so far this year.
Mm.
I'm happy for him.
I'm
really
happy for him too.
I hope this continues.
I'm a big fan. No, I'm not, but I'm I'm sorry. I almost said I was a big fan. I'm not, but like I'm pleasantly surprised with Jalen Suggs North. He's doing his best. And other than that, I mean they have got so much weird shit. Like Killian has been like all right, but I think it's really mucking shit up because Jaden Ivey's coming off the bench, which I don't really like. I think he's a lot better than that. He's been good in his off the bench minutes, but it's like I bet he could be good in the not off the bench minutes.
there.
too.
Right, yeah.
Also, we mentioned part of this is they looked like a dramatically better team before Jalen Duran started missing time and was like kind of in and out of the lineup.
Mhm.
They were like a top-rated defense through the first few games, and they are all the way down to the 23rd rated defense now after 10 more games. So it's kind of unfortunate, but when they've had like their main guys, like when Duran has been in, they've looked pretty good. I think they just need some time to gel, and if they can finish the year in like the 18 to 19 range defensively, I'm never gonna expect them really to be like a super competent offense, but like if they can build this type of like defensive identity that it seems like Monty Williams has really tried to instill in them and like really get everyone to guard, I like where they're going. And Killian not looking like the worst player on the floor in every game against every set of players, and Asar being quite frankly tremendous so far. It's been a lot more hope than they've had in the last couple of years.
Yeah, it feels like
Do we-
they've
do we
got
talk
some
about it now?
direction.
Do we talk about it?
Talk about what?
Guys, Cade kind of sucks.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
who told
It's
you that?
okay. I mean, it's not even that he's like he's okay. He's been struggling for sure, but I think more than his like, it feels like he got hurt last year. Before he got hurt, it looked like some of the things that were going on were still like problematic for him. You know, like some of the issues from his rookie year were really sticking around, especially with the jumper. And then he got like the year off with his leg thing. And I feel like there are a lot of expectations, maybe fairly or not, coming in this year, and he just looks like the same player, maybe worse. It's weird. I don't
Yeah.
know what's going on with him.
and it's sad because
he
like
makes so many mistakes with the ball. He's doing this thing. I had a conversation with a Pistons fan, regrettably, the other night, and it was the thing is Cade Cunningham is like a 6'7" guard who can handle. right? And that's good. And he's strong. I think you could say he's a very strong guard, right? For like a point guard. He takes more shots in floater range than he does at the actual rim. And that is bad. That's like you are not Jalen Brunson, man. He's like a half foot taller, like 30 to 40 pounds heavier, a lot stronger. Like if you were gonna be a 6-7 point guard in this league and you're gonna stop short of the rim on like most of your drives, that's bad. He doesn't get to the line that much. He takes like a lot of like subpar shots, like from that little like 5 foot range.
The turnovers, dude. The turnovers are.
Oh my god, yes, that too.
He has turned the ball over 6 or more times, 7 times.
He's the
that's insane.
Most turnovers per game in the NBA.
5 turnovers.
He has
versus
60 turnovers.
Most
already.
turnovers total by 10. 10 more turnovers than Luka fucking Doncic.
Wait, he leads the league in personal fouls too. What is going on here?
And a lot of these are not teams that like. A lot of these are not teams that like pressure the ball to a crazy degree. Like you turn the ball over 5 times versus the Charlotte Hornets. You turn the ball over 6 times versus the Portland Trailblazers.
Yo, bro, getting his pockets ripped by LaMelo. Like,
it's nasty.
That's the thing.
It sucks because
he
played good the first like 7 games. He had a couple of like mixed performances in here, but I mean, you know,
it seems like
opener 30 points, 9 assists. You know, did a little bit of everything, 30 and 9. They lose by 1. He has a 25-point game here where they beat the Bulls and he shot like moderately efficient. Has another 30-point game where he shoots like moderately efficient. A 26-point game where he shoots 50% from the field, which is the highest mark he's had this season. These last 5 games have been fucking dreadful efficiency wise. Like he had 33 points versus us on 27 shots. Turn the ball over 5 times. Like these turnovers are murdering him.
That specific game, the one versus the Bucks, that is like so quintessential the problems I'm talking about. I think the turnover and like the bad like shooting is linked. Actually, I think it's all related to his ability to not get the rim. Because the thing is, at the end of that game, if you remember, he had like a game-winning shot attempt. He kind of got by Brook Lopez. Like he got Brook on his hip right out of the pick and roll.
Yeah.
But he couldn't get past him, and so he ended up pulling back for a mid-range. He gets fucking stuffed on it. I mean, some of that's what Brook Lopez does. But if you're a point guard, you need to be able to turn that fucking corner and finish at the rim, right?
Yeah.
He gets the offensive rebound, and then he just immediately turns it over. And it's like I feel like that sequence is like a little extreme, but I feel like in general, he finds himself making a lot of bad passes directly or indirectly because he can't get all the way to the cup. Like he gets 80% of the way there on a drive, and he has to stop short, take a bad shot, or break a bad pass, and it's really unfortunate. And like his like volumetric numbers look nice. Like he averages 21 and 7. That's really cool. But it feels like his impact on his team's offense is actually still not good because he's making so many mistakes and he's not actually pressuring the defense at the rim, and his 3-point shot is still really bad. Like, who the fuck else shoots 85% from the line and is a 30% 3-point shooter? Who does that?
Yeah, that is crazy.
The efficiency has always been a problem, and the turnovers have always been a problem, but the turnovers specifically have never been this bad.
I mean, he's second in the league in lost ball turnovers and second in the league in bad pass turnovers. Like both of them.
He's versatile with it.
Like that is crazy.
He's creative. Oh man. Yeah, it's I don't know. You don't love it. And what else do you even talk about with these guys? Like we cover all the main players, I feel like.
They're a young team.
Marcus Sasser had a couple cool games, I guess.
Marcus Sasser has had some cool games.
Yeah, Marcus Sasser played really well against us.
Yeah, but other than that, it looks bad.
I mean, the Blazers... DeAndre Ayton has been predictably kind of underwhelming.
I think he's been
Rob Williams out for the season.
I think DeAndre Ayton's been all right. He's been okay, but
Robert Williams is out for the year.
Yeah, that's tough. I think did Scoot get hurt? I can't remember. I feel like
yeah, he's hurt now.
Yeah, he's hurt and sucked. He's
been so
mainly hurt.
Dreadfully bad.
Him being hurt is just tough. Like missing games this early. Like he's only played 5 games. Missing games this
Right
early.
now,
in your career
it is
tough, dude.
Skylar Mays' team right now.
Jesus Christ.
That's what's happening.
Yeah, someone in our fantasy league picked up Skylar Mays. I was like, what the fuck are you doing?
It was supposed to be me. I fell asleep. The deadline is at like 3 a.m. when it turns to the next week. I wanted Skylar Mays.
It's
and I went to
okay,
bed
dude.
like
I
a
don't
normal
think
person.
I don't think
I
you're
mean,
gonna
to be
miss out
fair-
on too much on Skylar Mays production.
Hey, he's been
At least have
hooping
Killian
the
Hayes,
last
but-
2 games.
Yeah.
The last
No.
last 3 games, he's had 10 assists, 12 assists, 11 assists, respectively. He's been open.
Yeah, because he's all right. We can get to the Skylar Mays film. a
Brogdon's
little bit
hurt
later.
too. My fantasy team's
Yeah.
suffering from that. This team is it's just tough, man. Let's Shade Sharp is pretty cool. He's scoring points.
He's all right.
Kinda.
I think more impressive than the scoring points. He's doing a little bit of passing now, which I kind of like.
That's
from him.
true.
He was he's actually like a famously selfish player.
Yeah, if he can really start to play make, that gives like a whole new wrinkle to his game that wasn't really there from before.
Simons has been hurt. This team is just depressing, bro.
It's they're probably gonna be the worst team in the league, or like damn like close to it. So
Their
it's
defense is
just-
actually good right now, though, which is kind of weird to me.
Is it?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Wait, let me
Oh
look
my
at
god,
the-
they're
let me look at the
10th in D.
adjusted.
They're last in offense, but 10th in D rating. Oh man,
Is this not something I
Uh,
expected?
is it the Yusuf Nurkic anti effect?
No, adjusted. It's like they're 22nd.
Oh fuck, that's terrible. But hey, but adjusted offensive, they're still 30th. Okay, wow.
Yeah. I mean, the defense is probably marginally better, I guess. I mean, they're probably not bottom
We're
3.
just saying so little though with that.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about this team much. It warranted being mentioned because we haven't talked about them at all. But there's not. They got fucking Star Wars characters playing centers for them over there. Who the fuck is Duop Reith?
Yo, that's bro. What do you mean? He like
with all due
threes
respect-
against the Lakers.
No disrespect to him, but like, bro, dead ass. Does he not sound like he should live on Tatooine? Like,
He's a 2-way player. Never heard of this
shout
guy.
out to him.
Duop
drafted.
Reith sounds like an extra in like a children's show about music.
And through all of this discord going on in Portland, Chris Murray still not playing. Why is he not playing at all? Like, you can't play
The
a little
first
bit?
round pick on the young team that sucks ass doesn't play. I love it.
Fucking hell. I mean, I
love
think
it.
like Ryan Repair's not playing either. I think he kind of stinks, but like, you know.
You're gonna take these Kevin Knox minutes, and you're gonna enjoy every minute of them.
He is not there.
Yeah, Kevin Knox is he's in is he back
Piston.
in? Yeah, he's a Piston.
Yeah, he's played 2 games there. Big deal.
2 good games
He
too.
had a good one. Yeah.
I'm tweaking. What? Wait, why did I think he was back on the Blazers? That shows you how much Portland I've watched this year.
Yeah, he
Oh,
said
man.
two really efficient scoring games.
I thought he signed back with Portland. I did not realize he signed back with Detroit. I don't know why that happened, but hey, good for him.
He'd just
He
be
had-
doing stuff, man. Shut up.
Yeah,
Kevin Knox.
actually.
Oh man. Hey, do you guys want to talk about the other dog shit team that refuses to play its first round pick? But it's lottery first round pick?
Which one?
The Utah Jazz.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Oh, we're talking about the Jazz?
Yeah. You want to talk the team that drafted Taylor Hendricks and then decided they actually didn't like him anymore?
Dude, he was one of my favorite prospects
Just
when
not playing at all.
we really sat down and started doing the homework for the draft episode, and I combed over hours and hours of everything. Dude, I wrote like 14 pages of analysis for all the rookies. Taylor Hendricks was one of my favorite prospects, and he's just not playing. We kind of thought that might happen, or he was gonna have like a reduced role just because
We
of all
thought
the
he was
front-
going to have trouble getting minutes. Not that he wouldn't play. He has not
Yeah.
scored an NBA basket.
and we're doing all this for John Collins.
He has played 2 minutes. 2 minutes.
John Collins has been cool. John Collins has been cool, but like, man, let him play.
Walker Kessler is out. You would think too that they would need someone who can play the small ball 5 in spurts like Taylor Hendricks can. No, it's just Omer Yurt 7 minutes instead. It's so baffling. I don't
Yeah,
know. Bryce
Lucas
Sensabaugh doesn't
Samanic,
play, but at
yeah.
least we knew he probably wasn't going to play. Taylor
There's got too
Hendricks is just
much
chilling,
players.
Yeah.
just hanging out.
Quick sidebar.
They have too
Kelly-
many players for having no good players.
Quick sidebar. Kelly Olynyk has been awesome so far this
Yeah.
year. He's been crazy efficient. He's randomly facilitating like a lot. Like he's had
He's
a couple.
he's better at that than you would think.
Yeah.
Apparently, I mean,
I feel like-
he's had a couple of games now where he's had like 5 or 6 assists.
I feel
But
like he
was
just
doing that
does
for a
this
while
sometimes
last year
where he just
and
has
in,
like
in Detroit too.
these really crazy efficient stretches, and it's just like, wow, like Kelly Olynyk, man, like that's crazy. And then you just like don't really hear about him for a while until he does.
One of the things he is legitimately good. He does have like good passing vision for a big.
Yeah, no, for sure. He's been great, man. He's been great. He's been wildly efficient, like crazily.
It's a shame they can't play defense.
Is that enough Jazz talk? We got like 2 more teams we got to go through.
Let's see. Did we talk? Oh, was it the Bulls? Do we want to talk about the Bulls?
I think we can save them because they're funny.
They are pretty funny.
Actually, oh wait, the Pelicans. We wanted to talk about.
I was gonna say
The
let's
Jordan
talk about
Hawkins led Pelicans.
Jordan Hawkins, man.
the Podfather, Jordan Hawkins. Forever listen. I know the percentages aren't incredible right now, but when you talk about pure skill shooting the basketball, ability to make any shot from anywhere on the floor, no matter how he catches it, moving to his left or right, coming off a pin down, wherever. I've been saying for a minute now, Jordan Hawkins, pound for pound, is the best shooter in this draft. And, oh my god,
I mean, to his credit about the percentages, like, given the volume that they have him on right now, which is really insane, like, I don't think his
8 threes a game.
I don't think his percentages are that bad, honestly.
No.
Yeah. It's just he's struggling from inside the arc is all. But yeah, from 3, he's been... like he is entered the league as like, and this is something we always thought he was going to be, but he is like verified. He is like a true movement shooter. You can run curls for him. You can have him like run handoffs and like shoot in like pretty tightly contested windows because he can rise up. He can hit it. He can square up. Like he's really fucking good at that.
I mean, his 7th NBA game, he scored 31 and hit 7 threes, right? Shot 7 for 14. Yeah. He's just a bona fide sniper, man. He legitimately, when you talk about what coaches, like how coaches teach people to shoot and like what we understand about the mechanics of shooting a basketball, he might have some of the best mechanics I have ever seen, especially relative to his age. His form is immaculate, and it's a joy. It's a joy to watch. I know it's kind of a cherry picked stat. Like there's a lot of stipulations on this, but a cool thing, he did hit the most threes that a rookie has ever hit through their first 9 games in their career.
What, 7 threes against?
It's 7 threes against
Denver. Yeah.
Granted, they lost
last night
by like a lot, but yeah, I mean. 2 for 13 versus the Thunder is kind of crazy, but like I feel like because of the injuries they've had, he's been a little
I mean, he's on
overtaxed.
way more volume than he honestly should be, and he doesn't look that bad with it.
No, like I will live with the 2 for 13 if there's another night where I'm gonna get a 7 for 14. And I think it sounds stupid to say because it's the Pelicans. I think if they can figure out their health for like a little bit, and he goes back down to more like 25 minutes a game as opposed to like he had a game here where he played 41 minutes. He's had a couple like 37, 35. I think if he can get back to like a more normal workload for him, and a more consistent, like easier shot diet, I think he could be well above 40% as a rookie. I love him. I love Jordan Hawkins. I love being right. I love being right about things.
Do we want to talk about like Ingram or Zion at all? I mean, they've kind of struggled in their own ways thus far.
It hasn't looked very good.
Yeah, I mean, Ingram especially, it feels like has kind of gone the wrong way with his scoring. Like he's taking less three. Wait, let me double check. But I believe he's taking less threes. Oh no, he's taking more threes than he did last year.
But he's taking way less at the rim.
Yes, that's what it is. And he's also shooting like shit from 3 too. I mean that'll normalize eventually, but 21% is tough.
It is never a good sign for your competing basketball organization when this is only the games where they have both been available. when your team has a better net rating with both of your best players off the floor than when either of them are on or both of them are on.
Yeah, and I mean, Zion gave an interview a few days ago where it seemed like he was like pretty clearly frustrated with the way things were trending and like how they were functioning on offense and the role he has. So I don't know. It's not looking very cool down there, I gotta say.
Bro, Zion,
Well,
I was like gassing him up. But now I guess to flip the usage of the word, Zion looks just like not very Zion when he's been playing. Like the efficiency at the rim is like very not Zion. He looks kind of regularly gassed and like he's not getting as much lift as he would like. Like, and I don't know it like because he's shooting the same at the rim when he gets there, but I feel like he's not getting there as much. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like he's having a harder time blowing by guys and applying pressure on the rim in the classic Zion way, which is, I think, that's something to be a little worried about. Like
Yeah.
he's, historically, his most notable feature by far is that he's one of the best finishers in NBA history. And if he's having trouble getting to the rim like he used to, like, I mean, he's taking about the same amount of shots as he was last year. But about 15% of his shot diet has been shifted from the restricted area to the like non-restricted area paint. So like
Yeah.
away from the basket, more towards floater range. I don't like that. For Zion Williamson, I really don't like that.
Yeah, I mean, part of that I imagine has to do with him coming off injury, but also too like I don't know, like he looks like he's not 100%, and their offense just it grinds to a halt so much. Like they really are not making any easy offense right now, like across the
Yeah,
board.
no CJ, no Trey Murphy.
Oh yeah,
Um,
quick sidebar, dude, man. Rest, get some good rest, CJ McCollum. Like that is so
Yeah.
scary, and it's crazy that that's the second time that's happened to him. Just prayers for him. Like I hope he
Yeah.
recovers like well and everything and quickly.
Mm,
Speaking of prayers,
boy.
I think a few years from now, whenever his career is all said and done and everything, I think we will see Zion Williamson. I think he will be a case study, and I think he will be included in pamphlets in churches and God-fearing organizations around the world, warning about the dangers of what pornography does to you.
Oh my god.
Because he just has not looked like himself, man.
I'm not gonna lie, you said churches. I thought you were gonna talk about the restaurant. It was gonna be one of those.
What the
jokes.
fuck? that's a good layer.
The other vice.
That's actually crazy because everyone in the organization has been like, yeah, this is the most bought in like to his workout plan he's ever been, and he's agreed. He's like, yeah, I'm trying really hard to buy in and stick to the diet and everything and like get myself healthy, and it's just the worst he's played in his career. Like that's kind of crazy, no?
Maybe he needs some of that weight.
But he does have the weight. I feel like he still has it. Like it's
Maybe
I don't know. To me, he looks slimmer, which I thought could have potentially been a good thing. But I mean,
he looks the same as he did last season in terms of like body type. But I think he's just like maybe it's like he's not up to speed or something or like,
yeah. I mean, it could be the
weird.
speed.
Yeah.
He's definitely not playing at game speed. Whether that's the result of like him coming back or not,
I just don't know how much longer I can do this with him. Like I don't know how many more seasons we can do this where he misses an extended period of time and then there's ramp up, and he doesn't look quite the same, and we're like, well, he just came back from injury, and then he looks great for a stretch like like 20 or 30 games, then he gets injured again, and it's like, okay, well, we gotta wait again. And I don't think the Pelicans know what they want either, because it sucks. It really sucks. We talked about this once before. I don't quite remember when we were talking about that playoff series in 21-22 when they played the Suns. It really felt like the temperature had changed, and like there was
the
a
energy
huge
shifted. Yeah.
it really felt like there was a big culture change incoming when they brought in Jose Alvarado and Herb Jones came into his own. It felt like this Pelicans team and Brandon Ingram really came along as like a playoff riser, for the first time in his career, got to experience that. It felt like there were things to look forward to, real like tangible things to look forward to there that we haven't had in a long time, pretty much since the Anthony Davis trade, where they kind of just have been treading water as a pretty bad team. And it feels like we're right back to square one now. It's sad. Like, they were a really exciting team going into last season because of that playoff series, and it just feels like they've fallen really flat ever since then. And it makes me sad. I don't know where they go from here.
I mean, as it currently stands, they kind of just have to hope shit works out for the time being. Like, they don't really...
Yeah, there's not much going.
How long are you going to do that is my question.
I mean...
How long is Zion's contract?
Yeah, pretty much.
I mean, that's what, like, as much as you want to hold on to that, because if he ever does, reach that peak that they think he can, they're a very different and a very serious team and organization. At what point, though, do you see, like, people are starting to catch on to the fact that maybe this might never happen?
Yeah,
and his value is declining. And
in
declining.
that case, like, what does a good Zion Williamson trade look like right now?
I have no earthly idea. I would
well, that's
about it.
What I'm getting at. Like, there's not really much they can do about it. Like, the type of player that you can get with a Zion Williamson who isn't like 100% healthy and isn't like playing all that well, there's really like not much worth trading him for. Like, realistically, like, you'd want to get like a certified, you'd want like a top 25, 30 guy, like, in return at the bare minimum, or like a top prospect. Who's trading and either of those two things for the Zion Williamson that we see right now? It's not like...
Well, and let me be clear, I'm not saying they should or should not do anything immediately or in the future. I'm just wondering, like, everyone top to bottom in that organization, from the players to the staff to the ownership, seems pretty frustrated with how this era of this team has played out, because I think they also felt like shit was really about to change and it just hasn't.
I mean, I'm sure the players feel that way too.
I wonder what that, well, yeah, including the players. I just wonder what, if there's a clock, I wonder what the clock on that is. I'm just posing a question. I'm not saying they should, be rash or do anything.
Yeah, I mean, as it stands, like, Ingram's contract's up after next year, and I imagine, like, I think probably around then, or maybe after this year, like, there'll be some serious reevaluating if things don't change pretty drastically. Because the way this team is constructed, like, they obviously want to be like a playoff level team, and that's just not been the case.
Speaking of things that need to change drastically,
oh boy,
the last team that we have to discuss, what do you really talk about with the Bulls? Like,
they're dead. This team is so dead, bro.
It's just like,
Alex
we're talking
Caruso.
He hasn't played hardly. He's missed a bunch of time.
Yeah, but he was really good against the Suns. Remember that?
He was great. I love Alex Caruso. He's great.
Seems so bad, dude.
Yeah, your entire fan base wants to trade for him right now.
I was gonna say he would look better in green.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, this is kind of like my secondary fandom, so I guess I can kind of lead the way on this. What the fuck really else do you talk about? Zach LaVine has been tremendously disappointing. He is shooting the worst that he ever has in his career. And he looks like it. It does not look like things just aren't going in. It looks like he's really just struggling to get to a lot of the stuff that he was getting to last year.
He looks slow. I talked about this with Seth the other night.
Yeah.
He looks really slow to me.
Yeah. He's been super underwhelming. DeMar DeRozan shot diet, mid-range assassin. It can only be so...
one level scorer. Toronto was so good at making those.
Dude, right?
They're really special.
He just hasn't been... One thing that I want to talk about that I think is a little less obvious about the mid three. And something that has really pissed me off ever since they made the Vucevic trade is that they traded for this guy, and it feels like Billy Donovan has never fully tapped into his skill set because let's be blunt, Vucevic is one of the worst rim protecting bigs in the entire league. Among starters, probably the only person I would say is worse than him handily is like Valanciunas. And I don't even know, like, is he like? I feel like they're in the same tier of like
I
really
would say
bad.
JV is worse, but like, yeah, you're
Yeah,
right.
I mean, he's down there.
And so you needed to find ways to integrate Vucevic offensively to make. It's like what we said about Karl Anthony Towns. It's like if you don't integrate him on that side, he's just like like one of the worst players on the floor because he's such a fucking horrific defender. And that's true with Vucevic too. There were less than 100 possessions last season where Vucevic posted up and the possession ended with someone cutting to the rim and scoring. It has been such an underutilized part of his game in his entire Chicago tenure. And it feels like if they made him more of a hub, they would at least have a little bit more success on the offensive end. And they just don't do it, especially when you have someone as athletic and as good and instinctual off the ball as Zach LaVine.
Two
I don't
really
know why you
sick
want to just
slashing wings. Like,
right. I don't know why you want to just relegate both of them to spot up scorers. And Zach LaVine really his whole career, I'm not expecting him to just come out and show these flashes of being like a super competent playmaker and like secondary ball handler. DeMar DeRozan is a lot better at that than Zach ever has or ever has been. The point guard position has been an issue for them for so long, and it feels like they can mitigate a certain amount of that if they use Vucevic as more of a hub, and they just don't do it.
They're dying for playmaking and easy shots.
Yeah.
Right
They're
now. They
dying for it.
Yeah, like every other possession is like I actually really like Billy Donovan as a coach, at least on the defensive end. I think he's so good at squeezing the most out of his players that way. But like on offense, a lot of it just feels like, all right, DeMar, go do it. Zach, go do it.
I like
Get your ass down there. Like,
I agree. I loved what he did last year with the defense. I just it feels like their offense has always been super lacking and very one-dimensional. Like they don't have the personnel to do this drive and kick one more shit consistently. Like it just doesn't exist with this personnel. And that's why when I said I think versatility in coaching was so important when I was talking about Rick Carlisle, it's stuff like this. Yeah, when Billy Donovan was in Oklahoma, like yes, you can do this type of stuff with those players, but you can't do this anymore. Like you realistically have one perimeter creator on the floor in DeMar DeRozan, who's like I would say above average competency in facilitating for everyone else. And when he's off the floor, you don't really have that.
Side note, did you guys see that fucking pass? Because that was crazy.
Yeah.
That shit was insane. I think that might have been the best pass I've ever seen. That was insane.
That looked like it was straight out of like a dunk contest for passes. Like he played.
Dude, I watched that
like
live.
hours before and was
the
like
360, and then he comes back around over his shoulder, dotting the opposite court. That was fucking nuts. Anyway,
I know we were up.
No,
I know we were up quite a bit. I know we were up quite a bit when that happened. When he did that, I was like, "Oh, this is one of those classic Bucks games where we just lose." And right here is where it starts, where the other team just does unbelievably fake shit for 6 minutes straight. But we won.
That's one of those plays where it's like, thank God that guy in the corner drills that three because
Kobe White,
Kobe White.
Kobe White would never miss that.
Holy fuck, that would have been such a sad play if he missed.
Yeah, I don't know. They can't figure out this point guard spot. And last year they're running Alex Caruso at power forward because they can't figure out this Patrick Williams thing either. And now he
looks so dumb.
Way worse.
Yeah.
He's been terrible. And like
he looks finished, honestly.
I hesitate to say we because again, this is more like a secondary fan. I've grown up my whole life directly in between Milwaukee and Chicago, and so the Bucks are always my team. I'm always going to claim them, but like I've always had like a passive interest in the Bulls, and I'd say they've always been like probably my second or third favorite team. We have always wanted more from Patrick Williams, and we've always wanted the Bulls to let him be more because it feels like ever since he got drafted, he's just been relegated to you're going to guard fours and you're going to sit in the corner, and he was really good at that. Shot 40% from three for his career, like. He was really good at that, and it was always we were so fucking greedy like rats. We wanted him to develop like this pull up game when he got right off the 3-point line and get better at like those one dribbles, and we wanted to see him create with the ball more. And now he's shooting like 36% from the field, and he can't buy a fucking three, and he just looks so disengaged, and his minutes are going down, and Alex Caruso's out, and Torrey Craig has actually been pretty decent, and it's just is that the nicest thing I've said so far outside of DeMar DeRozan's passing is that Torrey Craig has been good?
Yeah, I mean, it's just tough. Like, there's really not much to be done, I don't think, at this point. Like, it seems pretty clear to me that most of the players there are like really checked out. Like,
why am I so emotional about this shit team?
There was a lot of excitement, I think, for them when they first got together, and they had Lonzo running the show, and they were winning games, and it looked like things were trending upwards. But this Lonzo Ball thing has really kind of put a stall on their whole operation.
They actually need him so bad.
Yeah, and they're not going to fucking get him because he's out for the year. And he has a player option coming up.
I mean, they may never get him again. He might just not play basketball.
He might never play again. And it's like, you're not going to get anything for him not playing any basketball. Like, you can't trade him, obviously.
I'm not even thinking about him anymore. Like, with all due respect, I wish
it feels like he's not on the team. Like, he isn't playing.
No, I mean, he's basically isn't. And that's really, and it sounded kind of cold when I said that initially. That makes me really sad.
Yeah.
Because I loved watching that team when he was with them, and I loved the way that he as a player was really coming into his own, and it felt like he finally found a spot that really, really fit him. And so I'm very sad about all that.
Seeing anybody just lose like 2 years of their life, their livelihood,
their passion,
it sucks. Like, it feels really bad.
And I've maintained from the start that, to me, I'm not even thinking about the basketball with him. I want him. I don't know if he has kids or what. But, you know, if he has kids eventually, I don't want him to sit up here like how Dirk Nowitzki talks about. Yeah, those last few years really weren't worth it. My foot is super fucked up. I can't even run in the yard with my kids sometimes. I don't want that to happen to Alonzo, man. He's so young.
Yeah.
That's what makes me sad. Is like I'm thinking beyond basketball, and like I just wish the best for him, and I hope he can get back to a normal life before we even think about an NBA career. I would love it if he came back and played. And I love the energy that he's had about his rehab and everything so far. But with all due respect, I haven't thought about him in the same sentence as this Bulls roster in like a year. I have just assumed ever since they said he was going to miss this entire season, I was like, okay, there's a pretty reasonable chance he doesn't play basketball ever again. And so that sucks.
Yeah.
That really sucks, but they no one's gonna help them. They have to figure it out, and they haven't done that so far. I liked Javon Carter and Torrey Craig. I think it solved some of the 3-point deficiencies that they've had, but they really still haven't figured out this point guard thing, and their offense just stagnates too much for too long for me to say that this team's ever going to be super serious. Sucks.
All right. I'm glad we did that.
Why'd we end with that, man? I'm so sad now.
I thought we were gonna end laughing at this team. I'm not feeling bad for them.
Should we
the
laugh?
rest of it's funny, but
should we laugh?
I think that we're getting.
It's not that we can't laugh now.
Yeah.
The moment is past.
It's just.
Well, that was every team that we had for today. I think we went like a solid 2 hours or so.
Yeah, I think we've covered just about every team in the association now.
2 and 10, yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. So.
Yippee.
Well, that'll do it for this week. Thank you guys for watching so much. Like, share, all that business. If you forgot from the beginning, leave your prompt or leave your replies down in the comments below. Let us know what your way too early ballot would be for those awards and stuff. And let us know if there's any other teams that you guys want us to cover. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Triple Single, and we will see you next week.
Deuces.
Bye-bye.